This is Pro-Am Sports, your connection to the finest in Michigan sports every day of the year. From Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Pass presents 1987 Major League Baseball action. Tonight, the Seattle Mariners battle the Detroit Tigers in Game 1 of the two-game series. Hi, everybody. This is Larry Osterman along with Jim Northrup. Welcome to tonight's game. The Tigers finally back home after a long road trip that took them out west, and it was not a very productive road trip, winning just 2 of 7 ball games.
Yeah, you bet, Larry, and I'm sure they're glad to be home. A lot of times when you're in a bad situation like this, you like to go on a road and relax a little bit, but the Tigers didn't get much relaxing in. Played a lot of games, couldn't score any runs. It's plagued them so far all season. When they do score runs, they score a lot in one game, then nothing for 3 or 4, and you can't win that way. You have to score consistently.
And the Mariners swept the Tigers at the Kingdom. The Tigers will try to get even tonight. Mike Moore will be paraded out to the mound by the M's this evening, and he hasn't had a whole lot of success starting this year.
No, he hasn't, and he's not that successful against Detroit either. He's, I think, 4-3, something like that. He's a big kid, throws hard with a slider and a curveball. Really, to Detroit right now, I don't think it makes any difference who goes out there. They're either going to hit him or they're not. And lately, they just haven't. But Seattle's the kind of team you just have to beat, and the Tigers have had trouble beating them. And they're the kind of club that can jump up and sweep a series from you because they have some talent. You just hope it doesn't happen against you, and so far in Detroit it has. They just can't beat them.
Now the Tigers will have their ace going to the mound tonight, and Jack Morris has had the benefit of some runs this year. He's 3-2. He'll go to the mound, and he's pitched relatively well this season.
Yeah, Jack has pitched very well. He's had only one bad game, and they've scored a lot of runs for him, and that happens to you. You know, the Tigers haven't scored any runs in the last 3 or 4 starts. Now here comes Jack. They're due to score, and I wouldn't be surprised they score a lot of runs for him tonight. But Jack can pitch and win 1-0, 2-0 too.
Kirk Gibson is back. Willie Hernandez is back. The Tigers are back in town. We'll be back in just a moment with the batting order for the Seattle Mariners, so please stay with us here on Pass.
Pro-Am Sports coverage of Major League Baseball is brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh-Lite. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. By True Value Hardware, more than just a name. It's their way of doing business. By Highland, nobody sells for less. By Ford and your local Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Builders Square, where you're guaranteed the lowest prices on home improvement. Now 5 convenient Detroit locations. And by Snapper, makers of mowers, tillers, and trimmers. It's a snap with Snapper.
Larry Osterman and Jim Northrup at Tiger Stadium, where a rather modest gathering is on hand for Game 1 of this 2-game series matching the Seattle Mariners and Detroit Tigers. The Mariners swept the Tigers at the Kingdom last week when the Tigers were on their swing out west. They bring a 13-13 win-loss record to Detroit this evening at the start of a rather lengthy road trip for the Mariners. They are currently in tie for 3rd place in the American League West, a couple of games behind the Minnesota Twins. Now here's Jim with a look at the batting order for the Mariners.
Leading off, playing center field, John Moses. The left fielder in batting second, Phil Bradley. Batting third and catching, Scott Bradley. Designated hitter tonight for the Mariners, and batting fourth, Ken Phelps. Playing third base, batting fifth, Jim Presley. Sixth hitter playing first base, Alvin Davis. And in right field, batting seventh, Mike Kingerly. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Ray Quinones. And the second baseman, batting ninth, Harold Reynolds.
That's the batting order that Dick Williams has put together for this evening's performance. The Tiger batting order and positions are somewhat juggled as a result of the return of Kirk Gibson to the Tiger lineup, and some of the things that Sparky Anderson has been talking about in the past takes place tonight, with Kirk Gibson switching over from right field to left. Billy Beane, the young rookie, playing in center, and Pat Sheridan playing in right field. It I'm sure is going to be an interesting evening for Kirk Gibson, returning to big league play for the first time in 1987 after spending the last week with the Mud Hens in Toledo.
Well, it sure is, and unfortunately Kirk was looking forward to starting off and having a good season, and he got hurt. Nobody knows why, because he certainly was in good shape, but he did, and he's not been able to play for a month, and it's always tough trying to join in the middle of the season. It's going to take him a little while, but it's good to have Kurt back.
We'll take a look at the Tigers defensively. Getting the start at first base this evening is Dave Bergman. Handling the second base duties is Lou Whitaker. Out at shortstop for Detroit tonight is Alan Trammell. And playing third base for the Tigers is Tom Brookins. In the outfield for Detroit, there's Kirk Gibson in left field. The youngster in center is Billy Beane. And out in right field for the Tigers this evening is Pat Sheridan. Doing the catching for Detroit is Matt Noakes. On the mound is the veteran Jack Morris.
Jack is 3-2 this year with a 3.43 earned run average. This is his 6th game. He's pitched 42 innings, given up 37 hits, 17 runs, 16 of them earned. He's walked 17 and he struck out 28. Jack throws a fastball, slider, changes up every once in a while, and of course the split finger or fork ball, whatever you want to call it. He's a very determined and tough-minded pitcher. Comes right after you with everything he has. He's a very dedicated type individual, and he's a battler. He's the kind of guy you like to have out on the mound.
He has beaten the Kansas City Royals 13-2, has beaten the California Angels 12-4 in a couple of ball games that his teammates gave him a whole lot of support. One of his losses was a 2-1 decision on opening day against the Yankees here in Detroit. He also has a 7-1 complete game victory over the Chicago White Sox at Comiskey Park. The umpires for tonight's game, this is Dick Williams, who is in his first full season as the manager of the Mariners. Williams took over almost a year this date. It was actually the 9th of May when he replaced Chuck Cottier a year ago as the manager. And since taking over this club, there has been wholesale changes. A lot of veteran players that have been around for a long time were immediately shunted from the ball club upon Williams' arrival, and Dick has put together a very young team here, but a team that he feels has a very good future, and a team that can create some excitement in the great Northwest. John Moses will lead it off. He's a switch batter for the Mariners. Phil Bradley and Scott Bradley will follow against Jack Morris. Moses batting .254 from the left side. His only home run has come as a left-handed swinger, and he takes the first pitch high and away. Don Denkinger working the plate tonight. Ted Henry is the umpire at first, Drew Kobolot at second, and Larry McCoy is the umpire at third base. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Moses. It's high for a ball. 2-0. Moses has a bit of a hitting streak going, hitting safely in 6 of his last 7 ball games at a .281 pace. That has brought his quick start down a bit. He's at .292 overall. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Checks the swing, but it's in for a strike. 2-1. This is the start of an 8-game 3-city road trip for the Mariners. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's up and in. 3-1. Mariners play here again tomorrow. Head for Milwaukee following an off day on Thursday. Play 3 at County Stadium and 3 more at Fenway Park. Popped high into the air in shallow center. Alan Trammell is back, waving everyone off. Has it for out number 1. John Moses becomes the first victim of the night for Jack Morris, and Phil Bradley will be the batter. Bradley is struggling early. He has drawn a lot of walks, though. He has 23 of them this season, and that leads the American League. 1 strike. In his first 11 games of the season, he had just 3 hits.
Had a great year in 1985. Hit 326 home runs and 88 RBIs. Last year came back 310.
Low and away for a ball, 1-1.
Didn't hit as many home runs or RBIs. He had 12 home runs and 50 RBIs. Had some injuries. Fine young ball player.
It's fouled straight back.
Don't want him on first base either. He already has 13 stolen bases and he's only been thrown out once.
He had a slow start last season also, but boy, he had a whale of a second half, batting .353 following the All-Star break. Bouncing ball left side, big hop for Tom Brookins, a throw, and there are 2 out. In case you missed the roster changes today, Orlando Mercado has been sold to Albuquerque, the Class AAA affiliate of the Dodgers. The Tigers acquired the contract of right-handed pitcher Balvino Galvez from the Dodgers and sent him to Glens Falls. And the Tigers assigned pitcher Brian Kelly outright to the Toledo Mud Hens. Those moves making room for Gibson and Hernandez. This is hit high into shallow center. Bean drifting in, has a beat on it, and makes the catch, and that's the final out of the first. Mariners go easily. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We have played a third of an inning here at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. There is no score. Well, Jack Morris sailed right past the Mariners, getting Moses on a pop-up, Phil Bradley on a ground ball, and Bradley Scott on a fly ball to center. We mentioned it's a different batting order for the Tigers tonight, and here's Jim with a look at it.
Sparky's moved Pat Sheridan batting first, playing right field. The second hitter playing second base is Lou Whitaker. Returning to the lineup and playing left field, Kirk Gibson. Playing shortstop and batting fourth, Alan Trammell. The fifth hitter and catching, Matt Noakes. Designated hitter tonight for the Tigers, batting sixth, Darrell Evans. The first baseman batting seventh will be Dave Bergman. The eighth hitter and playing center field is Billy Bean. Playing third base and batting ninth, Tom Brookins.
So that's the batting order that Sparky Anderson has assembled for tonight's effort against Mike Moore, who is trying for his second victory for the Seattle Mariners. The Tigers 9-15 starting tonight's play. 11 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. The Tigers winning just 3 of their last 10 ball games and have dropped 3 in a row. They are currently tied for 5th in the American League East. Defensively for the Mariners, getting the start at first base tonight is Alvin Davis. Handling the second base duties is Harold Reynolds. And over at shortstop is Ray Quinones. At third base for the Mariners, Jim Presley. In the outfield, left field is patrolled by Phil Bradley. In center field, it's John Moses. And the guy that the Mariners got from Kansas City, Mike Kingery, is out in right field. Doing the catching for the M's is Scott Bradley. And doing the pitching, making his 6th start of the season, is Big Mike Moore.
Mike Moore 1-3 with a 4.76 earned run average. It's his 6th game. He's pitched 34 innings, given up 36 hits, 24 runs, 18 of them earned, 2 home runs. He's walked 17 and struck out 16.
It'll be Pat Sheridan, Lou Whitaker, and Kirk Gibson to face Mike Moore, who has been among leading hurlers for the Mariners in recent years. He's the career leader in victories for Seattle with 49. Innings pitched, strikeouts, and bases on balls allowed.
If the Tigers can get any of their top 3 on base, they have lots of speed. Sheridan, Whitaker, and Gibson can move around. So can Trammell, but these guys should score if they can get on base.
There's a drive to deep left center field. Moses with a long run, and he cannot get it. It's off the wall. Sheridan is headed for third. Here comes the throw. Sheridan slides, safe. Ball skips back toward the catcher, and Scott Bradley alertly feels it on the big hop. Sheridan on the first pitch of the ball game drives it off the wall in deep left center.
This is what Sheridan needs to do more to hit a high average. That ball's in the middle of the plate and he takes it straight away. And I'll tell you something, folks, he hit this ball a long ways. It's about 375, 380 off the top of that fence, just missing a home run. Gets by the outfielder and allows Pat to stretch a double into a triple. Now this ball, I think, skips and hits him on the helmet. Yeah, it did hit him on the back of the helmet, and if it had gone straight up over, this ball goes into the stands, he would have scored. But as we see it, it pops up and goes to the catcher. Here it is. Clunk right in the back of the head, pops it up and right to the catcher.
Sheridan at third. Whitaker pulls it just foul. Sweet Lou making a bid for extra bases. Just missed. One strike to count to Lou Whitaker with Pat Sheridan at third base and nobody out in the Tigers' half of the first of a scoreless game.
What Lou needs to do now, he's had his swing, took a rip, just missed it, pulling it foul. He needs to hit this ball straight away with one strike, at least get the ball in the outfield and score that run, not go for too much here. Try and get a run early.
Pitch is high for a ball. The Giants defeated the Cardinals 10-6 in action at Busch Stadium earlier today. San Francisco started today's play a game behind the Cincinnati Reds. Reds on top. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's high. Dodgers defeated the Cubs 3-1. That snapped a Chicago 5-game winning streak. 2-1 pitch to Whitaker, low for a ball. 3-1.
Infield playing back, especially short and second. Anything hit to short and second, Sheridan can score. First base too. Third base be a little tough.
3-1 pitch, ball 4. Lou Whitaker draws the base on balls. There are runners at the corners now with nobody out, and Kirk Gibson will make his debut in the American League's 1987 season.
Couldn't ask for better timing. Got a man on first, a man on third, and nobody out. A good place for Kirk to get the ball in play and drive in a run and get away from some of the jitters. You can bet not playing for a month, he's probably feeling just a little bit jittery getting back into play.
Sheridan at third, Whitaker at first with nobody out in the opening inning. Breaking pitch is low for a ball. Now the Tigers have been waiting for this man's return, hoping that he can be the key to unlocking the offensive thrust of the Tigers this year. He can't do it all, but he could provide them with a big boost. Fouled straight back. 1-1.
Kurt gives you the threat of the long ball, and everybody in the league knows that he certainly has a lot of power and can do it. He has great speed when he gets on the bases, so he causes the pitchers headaches. He can steal second, steal third, and probably the best thing he'll add to the Tigers is his competitiveness, his tough-mindedness, his will to win.
1-1 pitch, ground ball left side, picked off by Presley. They go to second. The relay not in time. A run scores. The Tigers lead 1-0. Kirk Gibson, safe on a fielder's choice, picks up an RBI as Whitaker is forced at second.
Kurt gets the ball outside and he goes with it. He almost gets it in the hole. Presley makes a good break on the ball and makes a fine play. Only the good speed of Gibson beats it out. It was up the line a little bit, but even an accurate throw wouldn't have gotten Kurt. He's got that great speed. Sure does help.
It's 1-0 Detroit. Gibson at first base. Alan Trammell is the batter. You've mentioned so many times about Jack Morris. There's your run, Jack. Make it stand up.
That's right. You win the DH now. You can't hit a home run, shut him out. But you got your one run, Jack. Go for it. Maybe all you get.
The pitch to Trammell is bounced foul past Alex Grammas.
And that's just the way you have to think, too. The team hasn't scored a lot of runs, and Jack got them out fairly easy in the first inning. And you got to think, well, maybe one run's all I'm going to get. Pitch like it is, and you don't lose it out there. Just pitch as hard as you can. Maybe these guys will score some more runs, but if one's all you're going to get, you better make it last.
It's fouled out of play. 2 strikes to Trammell. It's amazing how you can score a bunch in one game and then struggle for 5 or 6 more games. But it happens with regularity. Kirk Gibson, the runner at first, with 1 out and a run in the opening inning. The 0-2 pitch. Gibson running. The ball is thrown past Bradley. Gibson will hold at second base. Gibby was running on an 0-2 pitch. Scott Bradley didn't handle it. Easy stolen base for Gibson.
It's a very wide slider. Kirk gets a pretty good jump. It'd probably be a stolen base. I don't think they'll call it a wild pitch. I don't know what the ruling is on that play, but it was a wide. So you can see it gets way wide of the catcher. He didn't have much of a chance to catch it.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Trammell. Trammell's average at .299 starting today's play. Bradley makes the stop, and it's 2-2.
Very good play there by Scott Bradley. That ball gets away from him just a little bit. Gibson would be right over to third base. It is a stolen base.
2-2 pitch. Low, full count to Trammell.
I wonder what the ruling really is on there, whether it's automatic or it's in the scorekeeper's judgment, because I guess you have to think, well, did he have a good jump? Would he have scored? Is it a judgment call or automatic? I don't know. I'd have to find that out.
Can't quote the ruling, but I think it's an automatic stolen base on a play when he is running.
That's what I needed when I was stealing. Throw it in the stand. He might make it.
Reynolds is over, picks it off, and throws out Trammell with Gibson going to third. How many stolen bases did you have, and what was your high water mark in a year?
You know, I don't have any idea, but we weren't a stealing team, or I'd have stolen as many as I needed to, but they wouldn't turn me loose, you know.
You've got a record. You've got a record of some sort of stolen bases. I'm going to find it here.
It's a strange
one.
Here it is. I heard it.
Nope, that's not it.
Somebody mentioned that before. I couldn't imagine that I ever set a record stealing.
I couldn't either.
I must have taken them all home and they didn't have any left put on the field the next day. That might be a record.
Matt Noakes is the batter with Gibson at third, 2 out. I'll find it here.
When I was young, so many years ago, I could get it down there pretty good. Certainly didn't have world-class speed, but I had city speed. You know, I ran away from a lot of scrapes. Throw rocks at cop cars and throw rocks at cop cars. You can learn to get speed in a hurry.
1-0 pitch, good save by Bradley. I thought perhaps it was generated by fear of running away from linebackers when you were a quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you, I did not like getting hit, and so I was fleet of foot when those big bruisers came cruising after me.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's low. Three and 0 the count to Matt Noakes. Ground ball pulled foul. You were drafted, weren't you, by
well, I was going. Yeah, I was going to be by the Titans, who became the Jets, and maybe the Bears. They both showed interest in me, and actually the Titans made an offer, but I had already signed to play baseball, and the money was on the if come. You had to make the club, and in those days it was pretty darn rough, and so I just decided to play baseball. I would have liked to tried it just to see if I was tough enough or good enough. Probably wasn't, but I'd like to tried it.
There's a broken bat, humpback liner that's through for a base hit. Tigers lead 2-0. Matt Noakes lifts one to shallow right. Picks up an RBI, his 15th of the season, and the Tigers lead 2-0.
Matt Noakes, a fine young hitter. This ball runs on him pretty good. He's fallen across the plate. He's mostly a pull hitter. Great attempt by Harold Reynolds to catch that ball. I didn't think he had any chance at all, and he made a pretty good attempt at that.
Matt Noakes with 15 RBIs now. Darrell Evans steps in. Tigers lead it 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Evans is the designated hitter tonight. It's outside for a ball. Darrell with a couple of homers and 7 RBIs this year. Mike Moore with the 1-0 pitch. This is fouled out of play along the left field line. Hits on the roof and comes down into the upper deck.
It's only one game, but this is like the Tigers of old. When they score early, they seem to win. And getting runs in the first inning or two, especially when you have a Jack Morris on the mound, makes it a lot easier for your pitcher to pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Evans. 2-1.
You give McLean or Lolich a couple of innings, a couple of runs early, and you can just about forget it's all over. Those two guys would really tighten the screws on another team if they got ahead of them.
Inside and low. 3 balls and a strike. Well, that's why those guys were big winners. That's why Jack Morris is a big winner. Three and 1 the count to Evans. 2 runs are in and 2 are out. Matt Noakes over at first base picking up RBI. Kirk Gibson with the first RBI of this inning.
Wouldn't be surprised if Moore throws a fastball. Evans hits it in the upper deck.
Ground ball right side. Reynolds handles it, and that's it for Detroit in the first. But it was a productive inning. A couple of runs on a couple of hits. There's no errors, and 1 man was left. We'll go to the second with Detroit leading 2-0. Jack Morris has been staked to an early 2-0 lead by his teammates. Jack retired the side in order to open the ball game. He got Moses, Bradley, and Bradley. Now will face Phelps, Presley, and Davis. Big howdy from Tiger Stadium.
All's right with his world, isn't he? Got a little Tiger cap. The Tigers are ahead. He doesn't care about anything else.
It's all that's important right now. You got a picture-perfect night for baseball. Cloudless sky, a little bit of a breeze blowing across from the right field foul pole to the left. Two teams winding up tomorrow afternoon. Walt Terrell is scheduled to go for the Tigers tomorrow. He has pitched exceedingly well, but has been victimized by the lack of runs. He'll go against Scott Bankhead, who was 4-1 for Seattle. Kenny Phelps, the designated hitter, leads off for Seattle. He'll be followed by Jim Presley and Alvin Davis.
Bankhead's another one of those '84 Olympic team guys that in the major leagues. There's about 10 or 11 of them. Had them, and you know that team didn't win. I'd like to get the team that beat them. Sign every one of them.
The 1-0 pitch, that's fouled off. Speaking of foreign teams, I think it was Oakland that during the running of the America's Cup series of races sent a couple of men to Australia to scout baseball there. They didn't find anyone. They found one that was a possible prospect.
I thought they played cricket.
They do, and that's why they don't find many baseball players. They have one major type of a facility for baseball in all of Australia. It seats about 2,500 people. The big problem, I guess, is the hitters. It's a completely different swing. It's a big, wide up.
Yeah, and they hit it on one hop too.
Right. Unlike a baseball swing, which is normally hitting down on a ball. So the trip really was not real fruitful.
Well, if they got to see the race, it was. Well, that's. Phelps had 24 home runs last year, 64 RBIs. He's had a great start this year, as he's 7 home runs and 18 RBIs already, hitting .302, which is a pretty darn good start.
3-2 the count. And that's hit foul down the third baseline. Pass to Ozzie Virgil. Nice to see Hondo back in uniform. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers last year after a rather lengthy career with the Brewers. Was released and signed on as the first base coach. Frank Howard is the man we're talking about. He's the first base coach now for the Mariners. Ball 4.
Frank Howard's the old gentle giant. Motor mouth cheerleader. He never stops. I don't care if you're down 15-0. He's still cheering and hollering, and he's a very aggressive. He's one of my. It's a good thing he's a gentle giant. As big as he is, he could hurt somebody. And I played with Oswaldo Verhill. What did he go? 5 for 5 when he was a Tiger. 4 for 5, something like that.
Was it his debut? Wasn't it?
Yeah, down in Puerto Rico. You couldn't throw it high enough for Ozzie, and you get it head high, and he hit a line drive somewhere.
Jim Presley, the batter, takes it low and away. Tigers lead this game 2-0. Ken Phelps leading off the second with a base on balls.
Jim Presley, the reason why we have Darnell Coles. He did so well. Darnell never got a chance to play over there with Seattle and made him available, and the Tigers picked him up.
He hits it deep to center field. Billy Beane with a long run and cannot get it. It hits at the base of the wall. Will score Phelps. Headed toward third is Presley, and he'll go in with a 3-bagger. We have seen a couple of long blasts here tonight. Both stayed in the ballpark. One by Pat Sheridan, a 3-bagger to open the Tigers first, and now a triple by Presley.
Ball's up out over the strike zone, and Presley doesn't try to pull it. The young fella has good home run power. Hit 27 of them last year, and this ball's hit very, very deep, about 410, 415 feet. Billy Beane couldn't quite catch up to it. It's a triple for Jim Presley. He already has 5 home runs, and that's his 20th RBI. Good start. 107 RBIs last year.
It makes it a 2-1 Detroit lead, and the tying run is at third base with nobody out. Alvin Davis, the first baseman for the Mariners, is the batter. Fastball is in at the knees for a strike to Davis. Davis has been on a bit of a hitting tear for the Mariners. In the last 7 games, he's batted .381. Pops this one foul and out of play.
Alvin has some power too. He hit 18 home runs last year with 72 RBIs. Only has 1 this year, but he does have 13 RBIs, hitting .261.
Rookie of the year a couple of 3 years ago now. 1984 doesn't seem that long ago. At 27 homers and 116 RBIs in his big league debut. Jim Presley is the runner at third base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. It's a little high. 1-2. Jack Morris trying for his 4th victory of the season. Staked to an early 2-0 advantage, but the Mariners have come back with a run of their own here in the second inning. That's popped up, and a big one on the infield. Noakes has called for it, has it, and Presley stays at third. 1 out now in the second, and Mike Kingery will be the batter.
That's a big out for Jack Morris. He can go to work now if he should happen to get Kingery on a punch out or a short fly ball. Might save that run over at third base. Alvin Davis didn't get the ball straight away and deep. He popped it up. Now it's up to Kingery.
Kingery was the young fellow we saw make his debut at Kansas City last year. Looked like he was going to be a sure Hall of Famer after his first couple of weeks. He hit everything in sight. He, along with Scott Bankhead, involved in the Danny Tartabull trade, It sent Tartable to Kansas City and brought Bankhead and Kingery from KC to Seattle. A trade that Dick Williams says he is very pleased with thus far. This is hit to straightaway center field. Bean had gone back. Now he's coming in. Presley is tagging. Here comes the throw, and the Reynolds score easily. It's tied at 2. A sacrifice fly by Mike Kingery, his 8th RBI of the year, and we're tied at 2 runs each. A walk, a triple by Presley, a pop up, and Kingery sacrifice fly, and Ray Quinones comes up for Seattle with 2 in and 2 out, nobody on.
Good job by Mike Kingery. Didn't try to do too much with it, just wanted to get it out into the outfield and tie this game up. That's exactly what he did. This guy here is tearing it up. He only hit 189 last year, but he's 333, 3 home runs and 10 RBIs.
Well, he didn't do much last year. He was with Boston, and he came over to the Mariners in the deal that sent Spike Owen over to the Red Sox. But he went to the Puerto Rican Winter League and burned the league up. He hit over 300 there, and he just picked up where he left off. But he was not impressive at the plate with Seattle, hitting 189.
Only was in 36 games. He's hit as many as 12 and 11 home runs in the minor leagues, but he's already got 3 this year.
Trammell with a long throw, and the side is out, but the Mariners scored 2 on 1 hit. No errors and none left. It's 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the second. Dick Williams, in his first full season as manager of this club, we had a chance to talk with him before the start of tonight's game. You had a chance to work with this club last year, evaluate, make some changes, made some more changes during the winter time. Are you pleased with the way it's developing?
It's coming along very well. What we have to do is execute and play as a unit. We can't afford to give that 4th or 5th or 6th out in the ball game. Actually, no club can, but our pitching is our starting pitching has done quite well, and we just hope to get the relief pitching a little more solid. Just like every club, you never have enough pitching. We're utilizing our speed. We're playing as a unit to advance runners when we're supposed to, and things like that. We can't wait for the big inning, even in our small ballpark.
You've got a lot of young guys. Are they receptive to instruction?
Very much so. I guess 13 of our players have less than a year's experience, and another 4 or 5 have maybe less than 3 years. And I think the maximum years, maybe 1 or 2 guys have 5 years.
You've turned a lot of clubs around in your career as a manager. Is this the toughest job you faced, or have you faced tougher ones?
Well, I think this is very similar to the San Diego situation they had down there. They were a last place ball club for quite a few years, and in the first 2 years we played 500 ball and we won it the 3rd year. This is something similar. We're in a division that anything could happen in. There's nobody going to walk away with our division. The Angels won it last year. They have some problems right now with McCaskill out and Booney just rejoining the ball club. It's taking them down a little. Minnesota's improved. We think we've improved, so we can make a run at it just like anybody else.
This Detroit Tiger feature was sponsored by these participating Pro Golf dealers. Pro Golf. We discount everything but service.
It's a 2-2 tie as we start the bottom of the second with the lower third of the Tiger order. Dave Bergman, Billy Beane, and Tom Brookins against Mike Moore. Pitches into Berge for a strike. It's 1-1.
Dick Williams is a good manager for this young ball club. He's patient. He knows the game. And I'll tell you one thing, you will play the game correctly and you'll play it hard or you won't be here very long.
They have been stressing. I guess every team does, but particularly this one with the young fellas that are on the team, the fundamentals of baseball and the execution of those fundamentals.
You can't do it enough. It'll get you over the season. The best fundamental sound defensive ball club with the pitching is going to win 99 times out of 100.
The last 2 or 3 years, the base on balls has really been a plague to this young pitching staff for Seattle. That's hit hard, but right at the first baseman Alvin Davis, and Bergman is out number 1 here in the second.
Base on balls will plague any team and every team. Jack Morris was guilty of it last inning. He walked the leadoff man. I know he didn't want to, but he did, and sure enough, he scored.
Billy Beane is the batter. He is hitting in the 8th position tonight. Tigers this evening starting an 11-game homestand against the Western foes. Skips away from Scott. 1 ball, no strikes to Beane. Ground ball right side. Harold Reynolds handles it. 2 are out. Well, Mike Moore, who struggled through the first inning, has gotten the first 2 men come to the plate in the second, and now will face Tom Brookins. Brookins, the subject of a very fine feature article by Lynn Henning of the Detroit News today. Going to get a different batting helmet. It's interesting. Must have asked for one before he went up there, and it was delivered. Brookins very early in his career suffered a shoulder separation. Thought his career may be over. Battled, which is not a surprise. Finally made it to the big leagues. This is off the end of the bat, and Davis goes back and picks it off for the final out. Tigers go quietly in the second, nothing across. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We've played 2. It's tied at 2.
Settle in for more baseball Friday night when Reggie Jackson and the Oakland A's step in to take their swings at the Tigers. Be there for the big leagues right here on Pass.
I'll give you a rundown of what's happening elsewhere in big league baseball. In the National League this afternoon, San Francisco beat the Cardinals 10-6. Dodgers over the Cubs 3-1. And in the 6th inning, Montreal and Atlanta are tied at 4 runs each down south. They're underway at Shea Stadium this evening. Cincinnati and New York scoreless in the first. Houston and Philadelphia scoreless in the first, and a late starter on the coast, Pittsburgh at San Diego. In the American League, things are getting underway here in the Eastern time zone. Oakland and Boston are scoreless in the first. New York playing at Chicago. They're scoreless now at Comiskey Park in the first. Baltimore and Minnesota scoreless in the first. Starting at 8:30 this evening, Toronto at Kansas City, California at Milwaukee, and Cleveland at Texas. Here in Detroit, it is tied at 2-2 as we get ready for the 3rd inning of play. Well, the good physician who was honored here last evening at a local nightery, Doc Finkel, who is the director of radio and television for the Detroit Tigers, has just graced us with his presence. Congratulations, Doc, on your birthday. Harold Reynolds. The best line of the night, it was a roast for Doc Finkel. The best line of the night was delivered by the president of the Detroit Tigers, Jim Campbell, who said Doc had very few friends when he was a young boy, and his mother had to strap a pork chop around Doc's neck in order to get Doc's puppy to play with him. Pitch to Reynolds, misses. 2 balls and a strike. Reynolds, Moses, and Phil Bradley facing Jack Morris inside. 3-1. Morris started the second off with a walk to Ken Phelps, and Jim Presley followed with a long triple.
Jack not getting the ball exactly where he wants it right now. He needs to get it down in the strike zone a little bit. He's high with everything. He's rushing a little bit.
Second walk off Morris. We'll go to the top of the order for John Moses. Don Denkinger has gone to the mound to talk with Morris.
Probably warning him about blowing in his mouth, or telling him it's okay to do it. If it's getting chilly out here, they'll allow the pitchers to blow into their hand and not have to walk off the mound. Jack's forcing it a little bit. He's struggling a little bit with his control, and he's trying to throw a little bit harder than he can, and he's up in the strike zone.
Moses started the ball game, popping out to Alan Trammell. Brookins edging in at third base. Pitch is outside and high. 1 ball, no strikes. See, Tom Brookins starts at the edge of the grass and creeps in as Morris gets ready to deliver to Morris. Quick throw over to first, and Reynolds dives back safely. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Runner at first base. Top of the 3rd inning, and a 2-2 tie. Squares the bunt inside.
Dick Williams gave Moses a chance to swing. 1 ball, no strikes. He took a strike, so then he would put the bunt on. Now it's 2-1. He'll probably go back to letting him hit. This is a good situation to hit and run with. You got a 2-1 count. Runner with some decent speed at first. He's getting a little bigger lead. Wouldn't be surprising to see him hit and run.
Outside. 3 balls and a strike. Ozzie Virgil again running through a lengthy series of signs. He's going to wear himself out before this series is over.
The only danger with hitting and running here is you've got Jack Morris struggling a little bit, and he's not getting the ball in the strike zone. You'd hate to have a hit and run where he's throwing a bad pitch. But now that it's 3-1, a bad pitch will walk the hitter. You don't want to let Jack off the hook as the opposing manager by making some running mistakes when he's struggling. But I would think if I was managing, I'd have him running now 3-1. Maybe that's why I'll never manage.
There he goes. Pitch is low, ball 4. Back-to-back walks to open the 3rd inning. 3rd walk off Morris.
I really don't know what John Moses was doing, faking a bunt on a 3-1 pitch. Billy Moffitt's going to go out and try to settle Jack down. This is not the Jack Morris that we've seen of late. He's walked 2 guys in a row. Jack usually throws strikes, makes him hit the ball, but he just can't find the plate right now. He's struggling a little bit. Jack's thrown a lot of fastballs that are not anywhere close to the plate. Maybe he ought to, of course, he's in a tough situation now. Throw a slider or a fork ball. Try something different.
Tigers in a jam here in the 3rd inning. A couple of walks to open the 3rd. Nobody out, and Phil Bradley bats. Pitch is low and away. Even a pitcher of Morris's stature, is it possible that he thinks about possibly 2 runs is it, and as a result works a little harder, perhaps overthrows in an attempt to be even better than it's possible to be, and as a result it turns sour for him.
It sure can. I mean, it affects everybody on a ball club when you're not playing well, not scoring any runs. Everybody looks to themselves to think, if I do a little bit more, a little bit extra, and you try to do more than you can, and it's difficult to just do your own thing.
It's fouled out of play. Reynolds was running from second. Moses had just taken a couple of strides off first.
Moses missed the sign. That's probably what happened there. One of them missed the sign.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Inside and low, 2-2. 3 signs shaken off by Morris. Whitaker has gone to second, and the quick throw he got back. Whitaker was standing there waiting for the delivery of the ball. Reynolds went diving back and made it.
Here we're going to see it. He didn't even budge when Lou went over to second. Lou was just standing there. Jack finally wheeled him through it. Close play.
Oh, they got him that time.
Yes, they did. He was running too. It looked like he was running. He made a little move. The ball got right there. It was a perfect throw by Jack. That ball was right between the bag and Reynolds, and whether you're running or not, that's a cardinal sin. You can't get picked off second base with nobody out. 2 men on. Good way to kill a rally and help the guy that's struggling on the mound.
It was almost a repeat of the previous play, although this throw was better than the first one. And they got him. Brookins feels it. Might be 2. There's 1. Not in time. Phil Bradley beat the relay and is safe on a fielder's choice. There are 2 out now, with Scott Bradley coming up. Well, Jack within 1 out now, pitching himself out of what appeared to be a very tough position. Runners at first and second with nobody out. Both runners on as a result of the walk. There goes the runner, Bradley. Here's Noakes' throw, and he is in safely. That's the 40th stolen base of the season for Seattle. The Mariners have been caught 12 times.
You see Bradley had a big jump and he picked a changeup. Jack threw a changeup and Noakes never had a chance to get Bradley, and that's his 14th steal. Jack's got to hold guys like that on a little bit better than he did to give Noakes a chance. Of course, he threw a changeup, which was a perfect pitch to steal on.
Scott Bradley, the batter, with the 1-0 count. That's the 23rd successful steal by Tiger opponents in 27 attempts. 2-0 the count on Scott Bradley. In for a strike. Not many people have gotten Bradley this year. He leads the American League.
And Jack Morris is an ideal pitcher to steal on too. Jack takes a long time to get rid of the ball, even from the stretch position, and he doesn't give a catcher much of a chance.
That's fouled straight back, and a 2-2.
So he's got to keep guys like Phil Bradley closer to the base, throw over there a couple times, give him a couple of looks. He can't just nonchalant it because he's got good speed, and like I said, Jack is slow in releasing the ball, and you got to give Matt Noakes a little chance to throw somebody out.
2-2 pitch. Got him on strikes. So Morris pitches out of a tough spot. In the third, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We'll go to the Tigers' third. It's still tied at 2 runs each. To our scores. We start the bottom of the third with the top of the Tiger order. Pat Sheridan, Lou Whitaker, and Kirk Gibson. You can see the smoke above the center field bleachers. There apparently is a pretty good fire going on. Maybe a half mile or a mile from the park. Sheridan rips it again, but this time at John Moses. Sheridan tripled off the left center field wall in his first at bat. He hit it hard again this time, but to John Moses.
Pat has a tendency to be a pull hitter, and as long as he continues to hit the ball hard straight away like that, his average is going to go up.
Lou Whitaker drew a walk in the first inning. He's up there with 1 out and nobody on. Pitch is low and away, or low and inside to Lou Whitaker. Houston and Philadelphia scoreless. They're playing in the third inning. Reds and Mets are scoreless. They're in the second. Cincinnati starting today's play a game ahead of San Francisco. The Giants won today, beating the Cardinals 10-6. 2 balls and a strike to Lou Whitaker. 1 out, nobody on in the third. It's tied at 2 runs each. In for a strike, 2-2.
Cincinnati has some fine young players. That Eric Davis, they tell me, is as good as anybody that's ever played. He's going to, without injuries, he's going to be just terrific. Barry Larkin from the University of Michigan, getting some good pitching.
Long fly ball to deep right center. It's pretty well hit. Going back to the warning track, and it is caught by Mike Kingery. It just ran out of steam as Kingery cut in front of John Moses and made the catch on the long fly by Lou Whitaker.
We have a slight wind blowing from right to left. It isn't much, but it was just enough. Lou just gets under that ball, and if there's no wind, it's up there, but we do have a little bit of breeze, and it just kept that ball from getting out of here. Got to call it off, fellas. Somebody's got to yell, "I got it," or "You take it."
Kirk Gibson is the batter. Dwayne Murphy of the Oakland Athletics is out as a result of a similar play. He collided with his right fielder, and we won't see him this upcoming series with the Athletics because of the surgery on his knee.
That's too bad too. And that was a collision that might not have been avoided, but you've got to let everybody know what's going out there. If you can catch it, let everybody know.
3-0 the count. Gibson was safe on a fielder's choice, picked up an RBI in his first at bat, and had a stolen base in the opening inning. And he draws a walk. You wonder whether, in circumstances similar to the one we just witnessed, whether Gibson will get many pitches to swing at when you've got a right-hander on the mound.
Well, coming back this early, I'd pitch to him. I mean, like Trammell hits a home run down, you're down 2. I mean, you got the odds are in your favor making the hitters hit the ball. Gibson walking, he's going to steal if Allen gives him a chance. Your odds are much better on making Gibson hit the ball, and if he hits it out of the park, that's nothing you can do than it is to walk guys. It didn't look like Moore wanted any part of him.
Alan Trammell grounded out in the opening inning. He's up there with 2 out and a runner at first. There's a liner right at Reynolds, and he picks it off. Trammell hit it on the nose, but right at Harold Reynolds, and the Tigers are gone in the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We've played a third of the ball game, and it's tied at 2 runs each. Two-hour score as we go to the 4th inning. The Seattle Mariners and Detroit Tigers doing battle in game 1 of an 11-game homestand for Detroit after a shaky tour of the West. Ken Phelps will start it out. He'll be followed by Jim Presley and Alvin Davis. Tigers scored their 2 runs in the opening inning. Mariners came right back with 2 of their own in the second. Phelps drew a walk to lead off the second inning and was tripled home by Presley. And he pops it up in foul territory. Bergman is over. Looks like it's drifting. Berge stays with it, but it drops about a row or 2 into the seats. Looked like that was going to stay in play, but at the last moment it ducked into the seats.
Ball usually works its way back toward the infield, but with the breeze we have blowing almost straight in from right, it straightened that ball out, kept it in the stands. Berge, not knowing exactly where he was, couldn't get over there in time to get it.
Phelps alive with the 1-strike count. Lines it at Bergman. Hit it on the nose, but Berge picked it off, and there's 1 out in the 4th. It'll bring up Jim Presley, who tripled home Seattle's first run in the second inning. Presley with 20 RBIs now. He has been on a roll in the last 8 ball games. It's in for a strike for Morris. Jack has allowed just 1 hit. That was to Presley. He has struck out 1 and walked 3 thus far in tonight's game. He threw that right past Jim Presley. Two strikes the count. Foul tip held by Noakes. Second strikeout of the night for Jack Morris. 2 up, 2 down in the fourth. Alvin Davis will bat.
Looks like a little forkball. We'll see that split finger pitch. It is. The bottom drops out of it after 2 real good fastballs. That's a tough pitch to hit. Jack gets ahead with 2 strikes. Mariners did him a favor last inning. Had a bad base running mistake and let Jack off the hook. Boy, when you do that to a quality pitcher like Jack Morris, it's usually lights out.
Alvin Davis lines it to right center for a base hit. It's just the second hit of the night off Morris. It comes with 2 out in the fourth inning. It's big Hondo.
Tell him, Frank. Yep.
Second base is that away.
Yeah, it's that away. There's 2 outs. Go on anything.
Mike Kingery had a sacrifice fly in the second inning. Got home the tying run for the M's. Inside and low for a ball. A lot of grousing in the great Northwest, and the trade of Danny Tartabull to Kansas City. Tartabull had a very fine year a year ago. 25 homers, 96 RBIs. But Kingery, the Mariners hope, will pick up some of that slack in the offense. So far he's done very well.
Kingery hit .332 in part of a season with Omaha last year, and then .258 with Kansas City. Fine looking young ball player. And they said, who's Scott Bankhead? Well, he's 4-1. So,
yeah.
It looks like it'll be a good trade for everybody.
1-1 pitch hangs high. 2 balls and a strike.
You can believe Mr. Williams had a reason. Don't know what it was. I didn't ask him. Maybe I should, but he had a reason why he did what he did. And Seattle needs pitching. They're going to win.
I think that's why they did what they did. There's a long blast to deep right. That is upstairs. A 2-run homer for Mike Kingery. Kingery with 3 RBIs for the evening as Morris allows his 7th homer of the year. And Seattle goes in front 4-2. Not much question about that one.
Jack just doesn't have the location he wants. That fastball is right down the middle of the plate. Kingery has pretty good power, and he just jams it deep into the upper deck for a 2-run homer. Jack isn't getting the ball down in the strike zone at times, and it's hurting.
4-2 the score. The Mariners, and Ray Quinones is the batter. Takes it up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jack got the first 2 men, but then Davis got the single, and Kingery followed with a 2-run homer. And Quinones in the process of fouling out to Bergman. But the damage had been done. The Mariners score 2 on 2 hits. There are no errors and none left. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth. It's now Seattle 4 and Detroit 2. Tigers have fallen behind for the first time tonight. It is 4-2 the Mariners, and Matt Noakes will lead off the Detroit fourth. Noakes, Evans, and Bergman against Mike Moore, who had all kinds of problems in the opening inning, but since that time he has held the Tigers at bay. Noakes had a run-scoring single in the first. Tigers have not had a hit since. There's a fly ball to rather deep center field, but there's a lot of room out there, and John Moses chases it down. One out of the Detroit fourth, and Darrell Evans will come up.
Home run in many a ballpark, but not here in the Grand Canyon. Straightaway center field is a long ways out there. It's for the big boys.
Evans grounded out to close out the Tiger first. Strike on the inside part of the plate. It's in for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Evans, who has a word for Don Denkinger.
Thrown two very good pitches, off-speed pitches to Darrell Evans. Down at the knees on the outside part of the plate both times.
The 0-2 pitch misses outside. Breaking pitch lined over the leaping Harold Reynolds for a base hit. Tigers with a base runner. Solid single by Evans, who straightened out what appeared to be a curveball.
Went to the well one too many times. He threw him another breaking ball, and Darrell Evans, you can see, he's looking, halfway looking for it. Lines it over Harold Reynolds' head for a base hit.
Brings the tying run to the plate in person of Dave Bergman, who already has hammered out 3 home runs for Detroit this season. Dave started tonight hitting .324. Grounded out to open the second. Average slipping to .316.
Dave getting off to a real good start saved his job. There were some people thought he might be one of the guys who would have to go when moves were made. Dave got hot with the bat at the right time. Good to see too, because this guy can play some baseball for you, knows how to play it, and he's good for a ball club. Real great attitude.
Evans taking the lead at first base with 1 out. And the 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Oakland and Boston underway at Fenway. There's still no score there. Baltimore playing at Minnesota with no score. Orioles have been struggling too this start of this season. Fouled out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Orioles made some improvements in some of the players on the field, but that pitching staff just isn't what it used to be, and they're just going to have to replace them somehow, some way.
It's a full count to Dave Bergman. Cal Ripken was named the American League's Player of the Week for his performance last week. The Orioles off to another good start. Had a slugging percentage of 1,150. That's not bad for a week, huh?
He's got to do it, or Daddy will take care of him. She'd put him over his knees and spank him. That'd be a sight to see. Cal Jr.'s only about twice the size of the old man.
Yeah, he's about 6'6" and growing, I think. There goes Evans on the 3-2. It's ball 4. The throw is caught by Reynolds. Well, that would have been kind of interesting had the throw gotten through. Evans might have gone on to third base. Now the Tigers kicking up their heels a little bit here in the 4th inning. They have Evans at second base. Dave Bergman draws a base on balls. The second walk off Mike Moore, and the rookie center fielder Billy Beane is coming up.
Darrell Evans doesn't run all that well, and it's Dave Bergman doesn't either, and doesn't swing at very many bad pitches and strikes out, so they had him running in that situation.
Bean grounded out in the second inning. So for 1 tonight. Up there with a couple on, they represent the tying runs, Evans and Bergman. That's fouled back and out of play. Evans with a single with 1 out. He is at second base now, and Bergman at first. Good save by Bradley. 1-1. Mariners with 4 runs on 3 hits. Tigers 2 runs on 3 hits. 1-1 pitch. Ground ball right side, through for a base hit. Evans being waved home. The ball gets away from Kingery, and Evans scores easily to make it 4-3. Billy Beane comes through with a run-scoring single. The Tigers have cut into the Mariners' lead. Bergman stopping at second base.
Dave Bergman made a base running mistake there. You cannot assume the outfielder is going to come up with the ball. We see the pitch, breaking ball. Billy Beane gets it through the infield, past the diving second baseman, and Darrell Evans is keep right on going, and the outfielder overruns the ball. Berge doesn't take a look, stops at second, anticipates that there's going to be a throw maybe to third, and he should be standing on third base, and he's not.
It looked as though Alex Grammas was going to put the stop sign up for Evans. Action in the bullpen, Wilkinson throwing for Seattle. But when the ball was overrun by Kingery, I'm not sure that Evans was going to stop anyway. He had a full head of steam.
Well, he doesn't run all that well, but he had a good break, and a ground ball in this outfield slows up. The outfielders have to really charge it hard, and it was worth the chance to send him home. And Berge's just got to check, see where that ball is and if it's going to be thrown.
Nice play by Reynolds. Gets away. Everybody is safe. Reynolds made a great stop, but Quinones dropped the ball. It is scored as a base hit. Nope, now they've changed it. It's going to be an error. It had to be.
Yeah, it was an error. And this is too bad. Tom Brookins hits the ball as hard as you can hit it. Good play by Harold Reynolds, and he flips it to Quinones at an easy double play, and Quinones takes his eye off the ball and drops it.
The bases are loaded for Detroit now. Pat Sheridan has hit the ball hard twice tonight, has a triple to show for it. And drives it to left field. Bradley will play it on 1 hop. Here come 2 runners home, and they'll both score. Billy Beane had a pretty good look at what was going to happen in left field, and he just took off from second base and was right on Dave Bergman's heels as the Tigers put 2 more on the board. Pat Sheridan coming up with a couple of RBIs, has hit the ball hard each time to the plate tonight.
Here we see it's a line drive. 1 hopper to the outfield, but Billy Beane knew that was going to be a hit, and the reason he's so close to Bergman is there's no reason for Bergman to go anywhere until that ball drops in. Billy Beane had a real good look at it and made a good play and scored easily.
Tigers have moved back in front now, 5-4, and Lou Whitaker bats with runners at first and second, and still just 1 out. Tigers have banged the ball around pretty hard here in the 4th inning. Matt Noakes hit it deep to center field to start this inning, but John Moses went back and caught it.
You can see how much defense plays in this game. That was an easy double play they blew, and it cost them 2 runs.
Dick Williams was talking about earlier this evening. We cannot expect to give a team 4 outs and expect to win. He said that's true with every club, but particularly with ours. Execute. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball right side. Reynolds, nice play. Throws to first and gets Lou Whitaker. Reynolds has made some great efforts here at second base in this inning. And Kirk Gibson comes up now with 2 away and runners at second and third. Brookins advancing to third base. Sheridan moving on to second. Gibson is the batter with 2 out and first base open. He's been safe on a fielder's choice and has walked tonight.
He didn't get very much to hit when there was nobody on base. I doubt if he gets very much this time either. I'm really surprised Williams just doesn't flat out walk him or bring in a reliever.
One strike to Gibson. Gibson looks like he may have twisted that hand or wrist a little bit, and that's
He's got some blisters. He's been taking so much batting practice. He's got real bad blisters on that hand.
A bouncing ball left side. Quinones with a long throw, and he got his man. The Tigers are out in the 4th, but they score big. They put 3 up there. On 3 hits, there was an error. A couple were left. We'll go to the 5th. It's 5-4 Detroit. Detroit has come from behind to take the lead over the Mariners as we go to the 5th inning, which will open with Harold Reynolds. Reynolds was a busy man, made 3 very fine stops in the 4th inning, but Ray Quinones dropped what should have been a double play ball, and it kept the Tiger rally alive. It'll be Reynolds, Moses, and Bradley against Jack Morris, who for the 2nd time this evening has the lead. The Tigers opened the ball game with a couple of runs, but they faded quickly as the Mariners came right back with 2 of their own in the 2nd. Reynolds drew a walk in the 3rd inning as the leadoff man and helped Jack, who was struggling in that inning, was picked off second base. Mariners had runners at first and second with nobody out and failed to advance a runner beyond second. That's high for a ball, 2-1. 5-5-0 for Detroit, 4-3-1 for Seattle. There's a drive to right. Sheridan will play that on 1 hop. And Reynolds has his first hit of the night, number 4 for Seattle. We're going to get some activity in the Tiger bullpen now.
Once again, it's a pitch up in the strike zone, waist high on the outside part of the plate. Reynolds rips it and line drive into right field. Jack, just if you're going to be wild, you want to be wild low. Jack is wild high, and that's where you get hurt. Jeff Robinson warming up in the bully.
John Moses steps up, and there goes Reynolds. The throw from Noakes is not in time. Trammell thought he had him.
It was very, very close. Reynolds had a running start on Jack. Jack just isn't looking over there, and Noakes made a fine throw. Nothing wrong with the throw at all, but look at the lead he's got. Almost a running lead. They fake a bunt. Noakes comes up with it. Makes a perfect throw to Alan Trammell, and the foot just gets in there in front of Allen. You can see it. You see the foot's almost tie, but he's there ahead of the glove. Close play. Could have gone either way.
Second stolen base of the night for the Mariners, who are trying to utilize every offensive threat at their disposal to gain victories this year. And Williams has turned him loose. That's stolen base number 41 for the season. Seattle has stolen against virtually everyone the Mariners have played this year. He's just flat running them. Of course, the Tiger catchers have not had a whole lot of success against the steal either. This is pulled foul. We gave you that statistic earlier. Only 4 base runners have been caught stealing this year by Detroit catchers.
Well, Matt Noakes has a habit of taking his arm way back, and it slows up his timing from getting rid of the ball and getting it to second base. It might give that runner a half a step, and that's all you need. Matt's trying to work on it. Bill Freeney's worked on him a lot, but it's just a habit he has. And of course, there aren't too many Lance Parishes around that have a rocket like he had for an arm.
Moses bunts it foul. The count has gone 2 balls, 2 strikes on John. Boston has put 2 on the board. The Red Sox lead the Athletics 2-0. They're in the 3rd at Fenway Park. The Oakland Athletics will be in town for the weekend. 2-2 pitch hit high into right center field. Pat Sheridan and Bean converging. Bean calls for it, makes the catch. Reynolds tags and goes to third easily. Now the tying run is at third base with 1 out, and Phil Bradley will bat. Reggie Jackson and company will be here on Friday and Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoon we'll be televising on both Friday and Saturday evening here on Pass. Phil Bradley is the batter. Harold Reynolds at third base. Infield halfway. Pitch is inside for a ball. The 1-0 pitch is hit high into a shallow right field. Pat Sheridan coming in. Reynolds is tagging. The catch by Sheridan. The throw coming down the line. He is safe. Well, Sheridan threw it right on the nose, but Reynolds slides in safely to tie the ball game at 5-5. Sacrifice fly for Phil Bradley.
Here we're going to see it. He doesn't hit it very high, very far. And Sheridan really takes a couple of steps here. Not too bad getting rid of that ball, but on 2-hopper. But Harold Reynolds can run. Good speed. It would take good speed to score on that because the ball was right there to the catcher.
Now there are 2 out. 5-5 is the score. Bradley chops it toward Tram, who throws him out. Mariners out in the 5th inning. They score a run on 1 hit. There are no errors, none left. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. It's tied at 5. Big weekend coming up here on Pass, and Friday evening it begins at 6:30 with Off to the Races from Hazel Park. At 7 o'clock it's the pennant chase. We'll review all of the Major League Baseball action from this past week. Some highlights, features, look at some of your favorite players in action. Then at 7:30 it's game 1 of the Oakland Athletics Detroit Tigers series. We'll have it for you beginning at 7:30 here on Pass. Reggie Jackson will be back in town in the old uniform. 10 o'clock. Trackside at Ladbroke DRC winds things up. So a big night on Friday night here on Pass.
And we'll be here Saturday night too.
That's right.
Just in case you're wondering.
7:30. Alan Trammell leads it off. Takes the pitch outside for Mike Moore. Trammell is 0 for 2 tonight. Trammell, Noakes, and Evans against Moore. Pitch is low for a ball. Both of these starters have had leads and both have let them escape. It is tied at 5 runs each in the 5th. Low and away. 3-0 to Trammell. Dick Williams is coming out of the dugout. He has had Wilkinson throwing in the bullpen. I believe that's Connor coming out.
Yeah, it looks like Dick, but he's a little bigger.
Billy Connors, the pitching coach. Doesn't spend as much time out there as Phil Regan used to spend. Wilkinson again throwing for the Mariners.
Yeah, they finally got back in the game and tied it up 5-5. They don't want them walking a lot of guys on base. Detroit has a lot of lefties in the lineup, and Seattle has a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. Trammell gets on. There's Noakes, Evans, Bergman, and Bean, all left-handers.
And Trammell does get on. The third walk off Mike Moore. Matt Noakes will bat. He has a run-scoring single and drove John Moses deep to center in the 4th inning. The walk to Trammell was the 4th base on balls issued by Mike Moore tonight. Walked one in the 1st, one in the 3rd, one in the 4th. Trammell here in the 5th. Outside for a ball. Tigers trying to snap a 5-5 standoff here in the 5th inning. That's what Noakes has accomplished tonight. And it's low for a ball. 2-0. Moore thus far has allowed 5 runs on 5 hits, has struck out 1 and walked 4. He breezed through innings 2 and 3, but was in a Pecco trouble in both the 1st and 4th, and has a chance to get himself into a big jam here in the 5th. Oh, Noakes had the big swing, but comes up empty. It's 2-1.
Swung a little too hard and swung over the top of the pitch, but that's what you want to do. Look for a pitch from the middle of that plate inning. With first base occupied, you've got a hole. Try to drill that ball into right field or put it into the upper deck. You don't want to swing at a bad pitch outside and hit into double play. It's easy for me to say. I don't have to go up there. I knows how. Execution.
That's what it gets back to all of the time. Two-one pitch. Pops it foul. This might get into the seats. It will. Drops just beyond the Tiger dugout. Count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees and White Sox underway. They're in the 2nd inning at Comiskey Park. It's a scoreless ball game. New York 9-0 at Yankee Stadium, but 2 games under 500 on the road this year. Two and 2. The count to Matt Noakes. And a drive towards center. Here comes Moses. Plays it on one hop. Gets away. Trammell head for 3rd. He'll go in easily. So a hit and an error. And the Tigers are in business here in the 5th inning. The 2nd error of the night against the Mariners. And that'll be it for Mike Moore. 2nd hit of the night for Matt Noakes.
That was good base running by Alan Trammell. He went to 2nd base. He knew he couldn't advance to 3rd. The ball was hit on a line. He had to make sure that the center fielder John Moses couldn't catch it. And then when he saw him flub it, on over to 3rd he went. Good base running. John Moses must have taken his eye off the ball. There's one hopper, really no excuse for him to mishandle the ball, but he did, and that puts the Tigers in a good situation, gets the Mariners in trouble, and that's the end for Mike Moore.
Mike struggled throughout the ball game, really, although he did get him in order in the 2nd and walked the man in the 3rd inning. Well, we'll look ahead to what's happening here tomorrow on Pro-Am Sports. It begins at 7 o'clock with Off to the Races from Hazel Park. At 7:30, We'll take you to Fenway Park and give you a preview of the Oakland Athletics as they take on the Boston Red Sox. That's 7:30 here on Pass. And then 11 o'clock we'll have trackside at Ladbroke DRC, a complete recap of the day's racing action. It's all tomorrow here on Pass. Mike Moore thus far working 4 innings plus facing 2 men here in the 5th. Has allowed 5 runs, 6 hits, struck out 1 and walked 4. Leaves with 2 men on the base paths and nobody out in the Detroit 5th inning. He'll be succeeded on the mound by Bill Wilkinson.
Bill Wilkinson is 0-1 with a .491 earned run average. This is his 7th appearance. He's only pitched 7 1/3 innings, given up 10 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. He's walked 1 and he struck out 4. Little left-hander throws a fastball, curve, and a slider. And Larry Herndon is going to bat for Evans. Wilkinson spent 1986 in Calgary, where he was 8-8 with a .478 earned run average. He did play in Seattle a little bit in '85, where he was 0-2.
He hails from Gray Bowl, Wyoming. He'll face Larry Herndon now with runners at 1st and 3rd. Nobody out in the Tigers' half of the 5th inning. Detroit trying to snap a 5-5 tie.
Anybody from Gray Bowl, Wyoming's got to be all right.
I'm telling you.
I'll bet he's ridden a horse or a bull or 2 in his life. He looks
Great
like
one, probably.
He looks like, yeah, look at him. He looks like a little rodeoer. Rodeo doe.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Herndon, low and away. Larry batting .362, a couple of home runs, a chance to put the Tigers in front here in the 5th inning. Two-0 pitch. Inside, ball 3. Wilkinson, 22 years old. He's another of the young fellas that this club has. There aren't too many graybeards on this Mariner club. Runners at 1st and 3rd, nobody out. 3-0 pitch to Herndon, hangs high, ball 4, and we'll load him up. A single by Noakes, sandwiched in between walks to Trammell and Herndon. The Tigers have loaded the bases. You can see Billy Connors. And we're going to get some more activity in the bullpen. It has not yet started. We're going to get a visit from the mound as the Mariner is going to buy a little bit of time for that bully.
Yeah, they're going to try and get somebody warmed up here as soon as they can, because Sparky's looks like Sparky's going to do a lot of pinch hitting, and Darnell Coles is going to hit for Dave Bergman. One thing you got to do when you're a reliever is come in and throw strikes. And that's probably what Williams is telling him. You know, you're in here to throw the ball over the plate. You can't be walking people all around filling the bases. You got to make them hit the ball.
Mark Huseman is throwing now in the Seattle bullpen. Williams has won pennants with 3 different ball clubs: Boston, Oakland, San Diego. Has found himself in a rebuilding mode in many of his new ball clubs, and that's what he's been asked to do with the Mariners. Darnell Coles bats for Dave Bergman.
Ideal situation for Darnell Coles. He has not been hitting well since the start of the season. He's got the bases loaded, nobody out. Just get a good pitch and turn on it.
1 ball, no strikes. A walk to Trammell opened the 5th. Matt Noakes followed with his 2nd single of the night. And then Herndon walked as a pinch batter. 1-0 pitch way outside. 2-0. Here are the base runners. Alan Trammell, he's at 3rd base, on with a walk. Matt Noakes at 2nd, on with a single. Larry Herndon at 1st, on with a walk. 2-0 pitch. In for a strike. 2-1.
I think Darnell was taken all the way on that pitch. Maybe not, but it seems like he was. It looked like he didn't even act like he wanted to hit it.
Score from Atlanta. Pistons leading the Hawks 39-36 in the second quarter as the Pistons try for their second straight win. Count has gone to 3-1 on Darnell Coles. The bases are loaded with nobody out here in the Detroit fifth inning. It is tied at 5-5. 3-1 pitch. He fouls it back. Now it's a full count.
Darnell just a little over anxious. That pitch was high and away on the strike zone. Probably was a ball. Yep. Yeah, Darnell, it was high.
He's asking
the umpire says, yep. Yeah, it was. He knew it. But you get a little anxious. You know, you're not hitting very well, and you got an ideal situation right here. He wants to do well, and took a whack at a bad pitch. Maybe he'll get a good one here.
3-2, and he lines it. Look out. Ooh, a quick double play. Coles hit it on the nose right at Reynolds, who stepped on the bag to double up Noakes.
Just cannot let that happen. That's a rookie mistake, a young mistake. You cannot be picked off second base on a line drive with nobody out and the bases loaded. Another pitch out of the strike zone. Darnell does hit it very hard. And Harold Reynolds makes a fine play catching the ball. Matt Noakes, the minute that ball's hit on a line, you've got to freeze and head back to that base and make sure it gets through the infield. And there's a good chance here you've run yourself right out of the inning.
Chet Lemon will be the third consecutive pinch batter for Detroit. He'll hit for Billy Beane. Well, it started out, and it still may be a productive inning, but so far nothing's happened for the Tigers, and going to get a switch again. Dick Williams headed for the middle of the infield. He has Huseman throwing, and the call has been made.
Yeah, Wilkinson didn't do all that well. Got himself in a lot of trouble, and bad base running by Matt Noakes helped him out a whole lot. Gives the Mariners an opportunity to get out of this. And now with Chet Lemon pinch hitting and Tom Brookins coming up, both right-handers, they're going to go to the right-hander Huseman.
Wilkinson facing two men. He walked Herndon. Coles touched him for a liner, but it sailed right into Harold Reynolds' glove. Reynolds stepping on the bag to double up Matt Noakes. Wilkinson faces two men and works 2/3 of an inning, and now it'll be Mark Huseman to see if he can bail them out of the inning here in the fifth inning.
Mark Huseman is 0-0 with a 6-point earned run average. He's been in 5 games. This will be his 6th appearance. Pitched 12 innings, given up 8 hits, 10 runs, 8 of them earned, 1 home run, 1 walk, and 13 strikeouts.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Detroit Baseball Club and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our past subscribers. Any use or reproduction of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Detroit Baseball Club is strictly prohibited. Huseman, one of the newcomers on this team. There are a number of them, as we've been mentioning throughout tonight's telecast, as the Mariners make their bid to rebuild this ball club and hopefully become a competitive team in the West. Huseman was traded to the Mariners from Kansas City in exchange for catcher Terry Bell, May of last season. Mariners have never finished at .500 for a season. It is Dick Williams' contention that the Mariners can do better than that this year, that the Seattle club can contend for the American League West title. Two are out. Runners at first and third. We're playing in the bottom of the fifth. Chet Lemon bats for Billy Beane. A chance to break the tie. That's low and away to Lemon. Chet struggling most of this season at the plate, batting .171. But he has hit at a .303 pace lifetime against Seattle pitching. The 1-0 pitch, and it's line foul down into the Mariners bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two are out. Runners at first and third. Both on as a result of the base on balls. Trammell's at third. He carries the tie-breaking run. Low and away. 2 balls and a strike to Chester. Two-one pitch, low. 3-1. Tigers have been the recipients of 5 bases on balls tonight. Only one of the 5 men has scored. Herndon is at first. Trammell is at third. The 3-1 pitch. Outside, ball 4. Well, the bases are reloaded. Tom Brookins is the batter. All 3 men on base now as a result of the walks. Trammell at third, Herndon at second, and Lemon at first base.
Seattle's trying to help them. They've walked 6 of them, got the bases loaded here, and they've committed 2 errors.
The pitch to Brookins misses outside. 1 ball, no strikes to Brookins. Dick Williams.
1 more ball, and somebody's probably going to go out and talk to him, settle him down a little bit.
That cut the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nothing going on in the bullpen at the moment, although there is a little bit of stirring. We may see some action out there yet. Bob Kearney has come out. He is the bullpen catcher tonight, and we are going to see him action. 1-1 pitch, low and away for a ball. Two and 1 to Tom Brookins. It's like Jerry Reed out in the Mariners bullpen now. 2-1 pitch outside. 3-1. Here's Reed. Three balls and a strike to Brookins. Bases are loaded with 2 out. Ground ball left side. Mariners make it out of the inning and do. So the Tigers, given every opportunity to break this tie, cannot do it. They're retired with no runs, 1 hit. There was an error, and 3 men were left. We'll go to the 6th. It's tied at 5-5. Well, we sort of capsulized the last couple of weeks of the 1987 season in the 5th inning here for the Tigers this evening. A lot of opportunities, but they couldn't get the run home.
Well, both teams are doing all they can to help each other out. I tell you, Matt Noakes gets caught in a line drive in that inning, and it's a shame because the Tigers probably would have scored some runs, and yet they've the Seattle club has walked a number of players, made 2 big critical errors that have helped the Tigers out, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of it like they should. Should be running away and leading this game by a lot of runs, but they're not, so they're just going to have to keep battling.
But isn't that the way it goes, though, when things are going badly? They just go badly, and they find a lot of ways to.
It can always get worse before it gets better, Larry. This is a funny game, and a lot of funny things happen. You just have to keep battling, and I know the Tigers are. They've made a few mistakes. Seattle's made a lot of mistakes, too, so they're pretty much equal.
Well, we'll see what happens as we progress through this evening's encounter. Jack Morris is on the mound. He has not been at peak efficiency, but he's still on the mound, and it's a 5-5 tie. There'll be some changes. We'll have to bring you up to date. Looks like Coles is at first base. Lemon is in center. And Ken Phelps takes the first pitch low for a ball. Phelps lined out to Dave Bergman. His last at bat, pops this one very high into the air. Tom Brookins over in foul territory has it, and there's one out in the 6th inning. But Ken Phelps heads back to the dugout, and Jim Presley will come up. Presley 1 for 2 tonight, tripled home a run and scored a run for the Seattle Mariners. He's 1 for 2 this evening. Kansas City has broken loose against Toronto. The Royals 6, the Blue Jays nothing. They're playing in the 2nd inning at KC. Swing and a miss by Presley. (56-48) the halftime score from Atlanta, with the Hawks leading the Pistons in NBA playoff action. The 0-1 pitch low and away. A ball and a strike to Presley. Blue Jays had a 6-game winning streak going starting tonight's play, but they're going to have to come up with a big rally. They're down by 6 early at KC. Skips away from Noakes. Two balls and a strike. Two-two pitch swung on, hit hard and past Trammell. Like Allen had a crack at that and may have gotten a piece of it. Base hit for Presley, his 2nd of the night, the 6th hit off Jack Morris. Ball was hit like a bullet. Alvin Davis comes up.
Almost looks as if Allen thinks he's going to catch it in the air and then realizes it's hooking away from him. You can see Allen. Ball is really hit hard, just couldn't quite get there in time.
Presley taking his lead at first. The pitch to Davis is low for a ball. Alvin has a base hit, a single in the 4th inning. He scored a run. Scoring in front of Mike Kingery, who launched one into the upper deck in right field, putting the Mariners in front 4-2 at that stage. Ground ball, foul. That would have been big trouble had it stayed fair, but it was just outside the bag. Alvin Davis checks out Ozzie Virgil at third base. Steps back in with a 1-1 count, 1 out, and a runner at first base. Big swing way out in front, and it's 1-2.
Jack had good motion on that pitch. Took a lot off. It changed up on Alvin Davis, and he went right out on his nose trying to hit it.
One-two pitch. fouled, and it stays at 1-2. Davis hit .271 a year ago. Had never hit below .284 in his professional career, which is not a lengthy one, but it does date back to 1982 when he broke in with Lynn. That skips away from Noakes. It's strike 3. Runner occupying first base. Third strikeout for Morris. 2 out in the 6th, and Mike Kingery will come up.
This is a fork ball or split finger pitch. Out of the strike zone considerably. The bottom falls out of that pitch. A good job by Matt Noakes staying in front of that ball and blocking it. And Alvin Davis just was fooled and swung at a bad pitch.
Mike Kingery launched a 2-run homer in the 4th inning. That was his last at bat. Again, Noakes scoops it up. Kingery with 3 RBIs this evening. Sacrifice fly in the 2nd and a 2-run homer in the 4th. A liner, Tram grabs it. Alan Trammell timing his leap perfectly, picks it off, and the Mariners are out in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We'll go to the Detroit 6th, tied at 5. $10,918 in attendance here this evening. It has been an interesting game, to say the least. Each team has an opportunity to put it away. Neither team has been able to do so. As a result, we have a 5-5 tie. Tigers with a great scoring opportunity in the 5th inning, but just could not come through with a clutch hit. Pat Sheridan has had a big night. He'll lead off the 6th for Detroit. He tripled to open the Tigers first. He also had a 2-run single in the 4th inning. In the 3rd, he lined deep to John Moses. Sheridan, Whitaker, and Gibson to face Huseman, who is the 3rd man to work for Dick Williams' club tonight. Here's the 1-strike pitch, a little bit outside. You know, we were talking earlier about how Cleveland was getting clubbed by everybody. Their pitching staff has really turned it around in the last couple of weeks. There's a broken bat blooper toward center. Here comes Moses. Cannot get it. And Sheridan has his 3rd hit of the night. Well, he hammered one in the 3rd inning and didn't drop in. This time he had a broken bat blooper. Maybe a leading candidate for player of the game for the Tigers.
You see, he hits it right on the end of the bat, breaks his bat. John Moses goes back and over, and that half a step, 1 step over, cost him an opportunity to catch the ball. Thought it was hit harder than it was, and it really wasn't. It's hit on the end of the bat, broke the bat. It'll fool you.
Robinson coming back to the dugout apparently will work the 7th for Detroit. So if Morris is going to pick up a win here, Tigers must break the tie here in the 6th inning. And of course get some solid help out of the bullpen. Whitaker 0 for 2 officially this evening. Talking about the Tigers getting a great pitching staff, pitching performance from its staff. Indians have a 2.70 earned run average from their starting pitchers in the last 2 weeks. There goes the runner. Here's the throw from Bradley offline, and it's an easy stolen base for Pat Sheridan. So now the tie-breaking run is at second base with nobody out.
Pat Sheridan has decent speed, gets a good jump on a big lead. The throw was not very good on behalf of Scott Bradley. Had to throw into the bag. They may have gotten Pat, but you can see the throw is way off. Good play here by Quinones to save the ball. Keep it from going into center field. Keep Sheridan on second. Now Whitaker can pull the ball and get the runner to third.
Count is 1-0 to Lou. He squares, pushes the bunt right back to the pitcher for an out. Well, we go back to that word we've been talking about. Dick Williams brought it up early tonight, and it's been used a lot. Execution or lack of same.
Yeah, you got to make that ball. You got to bounce that ball. If you're going to bunt it to third, you got to make sure you bunt it to third base and get it down on the ground. Lou pops the ball up right to the pitcher, an easy play.
Well, the crowd saluting Kirk Gibson, who comes to the plate. He is 0 for 2 tonight, but has a stolen base and an RBI. Eddie Murray has just hammered a homer for the Orioles, his third of the year, coming in the 6th inning with nobody on against Minnesota. Tigers with 5 runs, 7 hits. The Mariners 5 runs on 5 hits. Mariners have booted a couple. Seattle staff has walked 6 Tiger batters. That's outside for a ball. 1-0 to Gibson. Sheridan carries the tie-breaking run at second. Pinota starting in behind him, enough to disrupt things, and Gibson steps out. One-0 pitch to Gibby, fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gibson.
We'll say hello to the Wizard of Northville, watching on Pass tonight. Never misses a game. Finally scraped up enough money to pay his bills so he could watch.
We're happy to hear that. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Gibson fouls it back. Now it's 1-2. Is he hurting?
Well, he hurt it a little bit that time. It looks like it. I don't think he did any damage, but it's probably still a little tender in there, and he had a pretty healthy cut, and you could see him.
One ball, 2 strikes, the count. Sheridan is out at second base with 1 out. And the pitch to Gibson. Checks the swing. And it's 2-2 to Gibby. Mike Moore started for Seattle. Worked the first 4. Bill Wilkinson working 2/3 of an inning. And Mark Huseman came on in the 5th inning. There's the 2-2 pitch. Inside, full count.
They have an open base at first base. I wouldn't give Gibson anything too good to hit here if I was Huseman.
Here's the 3-2 delivery. It's called strike 3. Gibson caught looking. First strikeout for Huseman. There are 2 out, and Alan Trammell will bat.
Kirk was probably thinking the same thing I was thinking. They threw him 2 sliders in a row, down and in, and then he just pours a fastball right down the middle. And Kirk is caught looking. I believe he was probably guessing breaking ball again. I'll tell you one thing, you guess breaking ball and get the fastball, it's over. It's
School
gone.
is out, eh?
You better believe it. You'll never catch up to it.
Alan Trammell the batter. Sheridan still at second base. Pitch is low and away to Tram. Allen has not gotten the ball out of the infield tonight, but he did hit it hard at Reynolds, the at bat in the 3rd inning. One 0 pitch misses. 2 balls, no strikes. Tigers have left 7 base runners already this evening. Inside for a ball. 3-0 to Trammell. Matt Noakes is in the on-deck circle. He'll bat next if Trammell can keep it going. .3-0 delivery. Strike on the outside part of the plate. 3-1. Sheridan running on 3-1. The pitch is hit to right field. Kingery is there and makes the catch. So the Tigers threaten, but again are turned away. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We'll go to the 7th. It's still tied at 5. It is still tied at 5 runs each as we go to the 7th inning, and we'll have a new pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Jack Morris went the first 6, leaves without a decision. Jeff Robinson will take over on the mound for Detroit.
Jack Morris was struggling most of the game and pitched 6 innings. Sparky'd seen enough, taking him out, bringing in Robinson, who is 1-1, 3.68 earned run average. This will be his 5th game. He's pitched 22 innings, 20 hits, 9 runs, 9 earned runs. He's walked 8 and he's struck out 15.
Just gotten word from the press box that Jack left the game because of a recurrence of the stiff neck that has been plaguing him through much of the season. Robinson will face Ray Quinones, Harold Reynolds, and John Moses. Tigers with 5 runs, 7 hits. Mariners 5 runs, 5 hits. Give you the totals for Morris. 6 innings worked, 5 runs. Struck out 3, walked 3. Robinson delivers a strike on the outside corner. 2-1 the count to Quinones, who is looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 2. Hit high into the air down toward the Mariners bullpen. A long gallop, but out of Cole's reach. 2-2. Tigers for the season now have stranded, including the 8th this evening, an even 200 base runners in 25 ball games. The 2-2 pitch is fouled back. Stays at 2-2. The 5th inning was the inning that really hurt the Tigers here this evening. They just let the Mariners off the hook. There were 3 walks in the inning and a single, but a line drive hit to Reynolds, doubling up Matt Noakes at second base, and the Mariners dodged the bullet as Detroit failed to score. Robinson fans Quinones to open the 7th inning.
Robinson throws the ball very, very hard and gives you that 3/4 pitch. That looks like a little slider on the outside part of the plate. Does have a quick little breaking ball, plus throws the ball hard. Quinones is out front, misses it a mile.
Harold Reynolds, the switch hitting second baseman, is the batter. He's 1 for 1 tonight, has drawn a walk, he has singled, stolen a base, and has scored a run. Jet Lemon is slightly toward left center for the left-handed hitting Reynolds. And Brookins is in at third. Noakes scoops it up. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on. We're in the 7th inning in Detroit. squares to bunt, and he fouls it back. Our next telecast is set for Friday evening. The Oakland Athletics will be in town. Airtime is 7:30 here on Pass. We'll also have Saturday night's game on Pass at 7:30. A 1-2 pitch to Reynolds. He loops it towards center. Chet Lemon drifts back, picks it off. 2 are out. Robinson gets the first 2 men, and now will face John Moses. Moses 0 for 2 this evening, as popped to short and fly to center. A walk sandwiched between. Fouls the first pitch off Moses, and that decks him. Pio DeSalvo, the Tigers trainer, coming out to check with Matt, who took it, I think, on the knee or on the inside of the thigh.
Yeah, caught him just above the knee on the inside part of the thigh. You can see foul tips a pitch that's tailing away from him. Comes right down just above the knee. That has to hurt just a little bit, folks. That's why they call it the tools of ignorance. You got to be tough, get back there and catch all those foul tips. Wild pitchers.
One strike to count to John Moses. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Robinson, low for a ball. 1-1. High fly ball to shallow right. Sheridan is coming in and has it. So Robinson breezes through the 7th. Nothing across. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll go to the Detroit 7th. It's still tied at 5. Remember, at the end of tonight's game, we'll be choosing the Soft Cloth Boys Tiger Player of the Game. The Detroit Tigers and the Soft Cloth Boys car washes, both #1 in Metro Detroit. 5-5 is the score. Tigers batting in the 7th. Matt Noakes will lead it off against Mark Huseman, the 3rd man to work for Dick Williams' club. Noakes lifts the one to shallow left. Brinones goes back and picks it off. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 7th inning. And Larry Herndon will bat. Herndon got into the ball game as a pinch batter for Darrell Evans and drew a walk in the 5th inning. So he has not had an official at bat. Pitch from Huseman misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Mike Moore went 4 plus faced 2 men in the 5th. Wilkinson went 2/3 of an inning. Huseman came on in the 5th inning and has held the Tigers pretty much under wraps. Although the Tigers did have a scoring opportunity in the 6th, they left Pat Sheridan stranded at second base. 1-1 the count to Larry Herndon. Low and away, 2 balls and a strike.
Huseman can be a little tough on right-handers. He kind of slings the ball 3/4 with a long snaky arm, and he has good motion on it.
Foul back and out of play.
He's a little sneaky quick. You can see they're swinging late, even the left-handers. He's a little sneakier. He throws his arm way out 3/4 and then comes slinging it at you, and he throws a little bit better than you think.
Two the count. Bouncing ball hit toward Reynolds. Stays down. He stays down. Picks it up and throws him out. 2 away in the Detroit 7th. Darnell Coles will be the batter. Cole's one of 3 consecutive pinch batters to come into the game in the Detroit 5th. Lined into what was turned into a double play in the 5th inning. He was a pinch batter for Dave Bergman, stayed in the game, and is playing first base. Huseman delivers low and away for a ball. Mark was 3-3 with the Mariners last year, 3.71 earned run average. Strike, and it's 1-1. One ball, one strike to count to Darnell. Breaking pitch is over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody on. We're in the 7th. Tigers opened the scoring with a couple of runs in the first. Mariners tied it in the 2nd. Then Seattle went in front 4-2 with a couple of runs in the 4th inning. Kingery with a 2-run homer. Tigers tallied 3 in the bottom of the 4th to take a 5-4 lead. But Seattle scored 1 in the 5th, and that tied it at 5, and that's the way it's been since. Misses outside, full count. Here's the 3-2 pitch, foul straight back. Huseman was born in Lincoln, Nebraska, but rather than pitching for the Cornhuskers, went to Colorado and worked for the Colorado State University club. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Got him on strikes. Huseman's 2nd strikeout of the night. The Tigers go quietly in the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll go to the 8th inning. It's still 5-5. Still tied at 5 runs each as we start the 8th inning with Phil Bradley, Scott Bradley, and Ken Phelps. Jeff Robinson working for the Tigers on the mound now after Jack Morris pitched the first 6. Bradley, who led the league in stolen bases and walks, has added one to a stolen base total tonight. He has 14 of them now. Picked up a sacrifice fly in the 5th inning that tied this game at 5 runs each. That's low and away. 2-0 the count to Bradley. Outfield straight away for the Mariners left fielder. Strike on the outside part of the plate. 2-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball hit to the right side. Whitaker picks it up and throws him out. 1 away in the Mariners 8th inning, and Scott Bradley will come up. They have a Bradley, Bradley, and Brantley on this team.
And they're not related.
Who, the Bradley and Bradley?
took you just a little while.
Scott Bradley takes the pitch low for a ball. Scott is 0 for 3 tonight. Mariners have just 5 hits. And he chops this one foul over toward the Tiger dugout and beyond. One and one, the count to Scott Bradley. Crowd of a little over 10,000 on hand for opening night of this 11-game homestand. Another ground ball hit the Lou. Bradley an easy out. Robinson has mowed him down, has retired 5 straight. Ken Phelps will be the batter. Phelps 0 for 2 this evening, has walked and has scored a run. First pitch is outside for a ball to Phelps. Clark is up in the bullpen now throwing for Seattle. I think Clark hails from this area, doesn't he? Stan Clark from Toledo, yeah. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's outside for a ball. Three and 0 the count. Good look at Robinson as he gets ready to deliver, and it's popped up. He had the green light and hit it a mile in the air. Brookins has it, and the side is out in order for the second straight inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 5. Just a reminder, we'll have game 1 and 2 beginning this Friday night as Reggie Jackson and the Oakland Athletics head into town to kick off a weekend series with the Tigers. Airtime 7:30 both Friday and Saturday nights. That's the Athletics right here on Pass against the Detroit Tigers. We'll have Jose Canseco in town. Understand that he has been told no more home run show before the start of the game. Canseco putting on a lot of great power performances during batting practice, and Bob Watson, the hitting coach for the Oakland Athletics, is a little bit concerned that it may foul up his stroke. And
well, it certainly can, but I don't know if Watson has that much control over the young man. Canseco is pretty good size, so is Watson, but you know, you can tell him you wouldn't want him to do that. It's a habit you don't need to get into. We used to do it a lot here. I hit more home runs than batting. Well, I guess Whitey Herzog was the king of the batting practice, but I was pretty darn close. I could rack them up there one right after another, then hit ground balls in the game.
Tough play here, and Chester goes in head first. Boy, he's fortunate he didn't hurt his hand on that slide. A high hopper Quinones couldn't handle.
Chopper, Chet Lemon doesn't hit it very well, but he chops it up over the pitcher's head. Even if Quinones gets this with the bare hand, I don't believe he could have thrown out Lemon. I don't know why Chet dove. He had it made easily. All he had to do is run across the base, but Chet doesn't feel comfortable unless he's in the dirt.
Well, the tie-breaking run is on with nobody out. Tom Brookins may be called upon to bunt. Presley thinks so. He's in on the grass at third base. Action in the bullpen continues for the Seattle Mariners. 5-5 is our score. Lemon is at first base. Brookins squares and bunts it foul. Well, the Oilers and Red Wings are underway at Edmonton. They're in the first period. That game is tied at 1-1. Everybody pulling for the Red Wings. It's going to be a tough chore, but strange things have happened over the years in playoffs. Now it is the Red Wings 2 and Edmonton 1 in the first period.
The Red Wings are playing well and they're hot. Of course, they're against the best team in hockey, but that doesn't mean anything. If you outskate them, outplaying, you can beat them. Tommy's got to get this ball on the ground to the first baseman. He's got to get his bat out in front of the plate so he doesn't pop it up.
Pushes it fouled on the first baseline. Now the count has gone to 0-2.
Tried to bunt it too fine down the line. All he has to do is get it within 3 or 4 feet of the line. The first baseman, the right-hand first baseman, have a tough time making a play at second base. Tommy didn't quite get the job done.
Two strikes the count to Brookins. Lemon is at first base with nobody out. Tigers trying to break this 5-5 tie in the 8th. They've just put the Detroit Edmonton score up on the board. That's the reason for the reaction from the crowd here at Tiger Stadium.
Well, the Wings are going to be fired up, as the crowd is, because the papers in Edmonton are just really mauling the Red Wings. They shouldn't be there. They're not good enough to be there. They got no business playing Edmonton. It'll be a 4-game sweep. That's all a team needs, a little extra incentive.
Yeah, I'm sure the Oilers love reading that stuff.
I know the Oiler players do. Anytime you ever go into any town like that and the writers do that, all you do is pour a little gasoline on the fire.
Now the Tigers need a little explosion here themselves. It's 5-5. A 1-2 count to Brookins. Bottom of the 8th. Squares, and he bunts it. He gets it down. Huseman has one play and throws to first. Lemon gets to second safely. So with a 1-2 count, Tom Brookins is asked to sacrifice. He does, and the lead run is at second.
This is an excellent play by Tom Brookins. It's very difficult to bunt with 2 strikes. You bunt it foul and you're out, and Tommy makes a perfect bunt, gets the job done.
A pitching change will be made with the left-handers coming up. The Mariners are going to the bullpen to bring on Clark. Stan Clark had been throwing out there. So Huseman did a good job while he was on the mound, allowing just a couple of hits. Won the infield single by Lemon that gets him into a spot here in the 8th inning. Stan Clark will become the 4th man to work for the Mariners this evening. All Mid-American Conference player at the University of Toledo. Drafted by the Mariners from the Toronto AAA Syracuse roster last December. Talking with Frank Howard about him before the ball game tonight, and he said you can bet he's got a lot of folks up from Toledo this evening, and a whole bunch more probably watching on pass down in Toledo. Stan Clark, we'll see if he can slam the door on the Tigers with the left-handers Sheridan, Whitaker, and Gibson coming up. Now they've just put the later score up on the board. The Red Wings 2-1 lead over Edmonton, and it draws another reaction from the crowd.
Stan's been in 1 game. He's pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, and that was it. Limited performance for Stan Clark. The left-hander kind of throws sidearm, throws a fastball and a slider.
We've been updating the NHL playoff action from Edmonton. An update from Atlanta. The Hawks leading the Pistons in the 3rd quarter, 77-71. That has just been posted, and that draws the boos from the crowd. I'll tell you, these sports fans in the Detroit area, the Michigan area, Northern Ohio, they're busy right now with the Pistons and the Red Wings and the Tigers all in action.
Mike Heath's going to pinch hit for Pat Sheridan. Pat was 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Did his part. Now it's up to Mike Heath.
Mike trying to drive home the lead run, takes a breaking pitch for strike 1. Oh, and 1 the count to Heath. Chet Lemon out at second base with 1 out. Inside and low for a ball. 1-1. Chet had an infield single to start this 8th, was sacrificed to second base on a 1-2 pitch by Tom Brookins. 1-1 inside. 2 balls and a strike to Heath.
Stan Clark throwing a lot of breaking balls. Probably not going to give Heath too much to hit. He has an open base at first base, and that would set up a double play with Lou Whitaker, Kirk Gibson, 2 left-handers coming up in a row. He'll probably try and throw some breaking balls, stay away from Heath, not give him too much to hit.
2-1 delivery, almost got him, may have, but it skips away. It does not hit Heath, and Lemon goes to third. Just got that trailing foot out of the way in time, skipped away from Bradley, and now a fly ball will put the Tigers in front.
This ball really breaks a lot, and it almost hits Heath, but it hits the catcher's glove and skips up over the heel of his glove all the way up in the middle of the screen. That was a real big breaking ball, and Bradley didn't have much of a chance to get over and block it. His view was blocked by the body of Heath. That puts a little different light in the story now, but you can still set up a double play ball if Heath is on first.
Infield is in even with the line. Outside ball 4. And Whitaker comes up. Runners at first and third now with 1 out. Whitaker is 0 for 3 this evening. Nothing going on in the bullpen, but Clark will get some advice from the dugout.
The best thing the Tigers have going for them in this situation is that Whitaker and Gibson are both tough to double. They have pretty good speed. They'd have to hit the ball hard right at somebody. And it looks like Seattle is going to play. They'll probably play in at first and third, maybe halfway at short and second. Dick Williams wants to make sure everybody knows what's going on. If a ball's hit right back to his pitcher and it's hard enough, you go for the double play. If it isn't and the guy's trying to score for home, you go home with it. He wants everybody to know what's going on.
It's a 5-5 tie in the bottom of the 8th inning. Runners at first and third with 1 out. And Lou Whitaker, who is looking for his first hit of the night, is the batter. And it's in for strike 1. One strike to Whitaker. Outside for a ball, 1-1. Willie is up in the Tiger bullpen. Just off the disabled list today. One pitch. Strike on the outside part of the plate. 1-2.
Lou took the first pitch right down the middle, the one he could have hammered, and now Mr. Clark made a nice breaking ball on the outside part of the plate, put Lou in a little bit of a hole.
1-2 delivery, fastball outside. 2-2. Kirk Gibson is in the on-deck circle. He'll bat next. Lemon is at third base. And Mike Heath is over at first. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Clark threw it past Whitaker for out number 2. And it'll be Kirk Gibson.
Good pitch by this young man, Clark. He throws 3/4 and a good breaking ball. It's a little up in the strike zone, but look at that ball break. Clear across the plate on the outside part of the corner. Lou was given a little bit on it, couldn't reach it. Awfully tough to go the other way with a guy that sidearms in throws like this young man does. He has real big breaking curveball.
Well, if you were writing a script, you'd write one like this, wouldn't you? Give the big man a chance.
Anytime now.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it now. Kurt is one of the more successful guess hitters. He'll guess on a pitcher. I wouldn't be surprised he's looking for the breaking ball away, but got it and didn't do much with it.
Clark really fired up as he guns it over to first base and gets the final out here in the 8th inning. So the Tigers again are turned away. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men were left. We'll go to the 9th inning now, and it's still tied. The Tigers 5 and the Mariners 5. Robinson will continue on the mound, and Willie Hernandez continues in the bullpen for the Tigers just in case Robinson gets into a bind. He has done a fine job for Detroit after coming on in relief of Jack Morris in the 7th. He's retired every man he has faced. Now we'll look at the scoreboard and see what's happening elsewhere in the National League this afternoon. The Giants beat the Cardinals 10-6. The Dodgers over the Cubs 3-1. Tonight, Montreal 6, Atlanta 4. That's the final. At Shea Stadium, Cincinnati leads the Mets 2-0 in the 8th inning. in the 8th inning at Philadelphia. It's Houston 3 and the Phils 1. And out on the West Coast, Pittsburgh and San Diego are scoreless in the first. In the American League, Boston 6 and Oakland nothing. They're in the 5th inning at Fenway Park. The White Sox lead the Yankees 2-0. They're playing in the 6th over at Comiskey Park. And Baltimore has a 4-0 lead over Minnesota. They're in the 6th at the Metrodome. Kansas City scored early and often. Royals lead Toronto 6-1. They're in the 5th at Royal Stadium. California 2, Milwaukee nothing. They're in the 5th at County Stadium, and Cleveland with a 2-1 lead over Texas at Arlington Stadium. They're in the 4th inning. Here in Detroit, it's a 5-5 tie as Seattle and Detroit move through the final stages of Game 1 of a brief 2-game series. Jack Morris started for Detroit. Jeff Robinson came on in the 7th. Mike Heath, who pinch hit in the 8th inning, stays in the ball game and plays in right field.
Seattle has Nunez warming up in the bullpen.
He's their door slammer. It'll be Jim Presley, Alvin Davis, and Mike Kingery. There's Edwin Nunez. Came in the big leagues as a teenager, was up and down a few times, just didn't quite handle it. But now he has matured, and he's a tough right-hander out of the bullpen for Seattle. Presley has had a good night. He has a single and a run-scoring triple. He's 2 for 3.
Presley, Davis, and Kingerly have done all the damage for the Mariners, especially Kingerly.
Now Mike hit the 2-run homer in the 4th inning that broke the tie. It was 2-2 at that stage. Atlanta now with a 13-point lead over the Pistons in the 4th period. The Hawks 86, Detroit 73 in Game 2 of that NBA playoff. So the Pistons will have to rally if they expect to bring home the 2-0 advantage.
I'm sure they'd like to win, but if they get out of there 1-1, that's be a lot more than a lot of teams could expect. Pretty tough winning down in Atlanta.
2-2 the count to Presley, who leads off the 9th inning for Seattle. Eric Bell has a no-hitter going through 7 innings for the Orioles at Minnesota. Pitch is low for a ball. 3-2 the count. Jeff Robinson checking the sign, and now time is called as the ball gets loose out in the Mariners bullpen. Bob Kearney has to chase it down. Baltimore leading that game at Minnesota 4-0, where Bell has his no-hitter alive. 3-2 pitch, a little high. First walk off Jeff Robinson. And the lead run is at first base with nobody out. Willie Hernandez continues to throw in the Tiger bullpen.
2 lefties coming up in a row. I thought maybe Sparky might make a move, but it looks like he's going to give Robinson one more crack.
This is Alvin Davis checking out the Ozzie Virgil sign. Now here comes Sparky. He sort of had to believe that was going to happen, but he waited a little bit longer, and he has made the call.
Fans are not any too happy about it either.
Doesn't sound that way, does it?
Well, Jeff Robinson was in a tough situation. I kind of thought no matter what he did, even if he had gotten Presley out, he was going to be taken out because there are 2 left-handers coming up next. But when you're out on that mound, puts a lot of pressure on you to know you have to throw strikes or they're going to hook you. And I kind of thought Sparky wasn't going to leave him in there.
Robinson did a fine job. He worked 2 complete innings, faced 1 man here in the 9th, did not allow a hit or a run, struck out 1, and the only walk was issued here to the leadoff man, Jim Presley. So Willie Hernandez, who following the recovery from his shoulder injury went to the Toledo Mud Hens to work out the kinks, will make his first start since coming off the disabled list with the parent team.
Of course, Willie's bread and butter pitch is the screwball. Does throw a 3/4 curveball and a fastball. Has had some arm problems coming out of spring training. Started off the season in the cold weather and didn't fare too well. He was 0-1 with an 18 earned run average in 2 games. Pitched 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. Didn't pitch very much. Wasn't very effective. Took some time off to let his arm get better. Went down to Toledo. Got himself back in shape. Says everything's all right.
You'll have a couple of pretty good men to face, although we're going to get a pinch hitter. Christensen has come out of the dugout. He is swinging a bat, may bat for Kingery, as Alvin Davis stays out there with Davis due up. There's Christensen. Meanwhile, Nate Snell has come out of the Tiger bullpen dugout, and he is starting to throw. Red Sox leading Oakland 6-0. They're in the 6th inning at Fenway Park. Cleveland 2, Texas 1. They're in the 5th at Arlington Stadium. And Alvin Davis will bat with Jim Presley at first and nobody out in the 9th inning.
Tigers are playing Alvin Davis to bunt. In all probability will.
Coles holding with Presley. Davis showing bunt. Brookins edging in at third. Missed outside. Bert Campaneris, although a right-handed hitter, was very good at this, and then he suddenly would swat the ball past you.
Just try to get the bat on the ball and pound it over into right field past the second baseman. He did it a number of times to us. It's a case where you don't swing too hard, you chop the ball and make it to hit it on the ground, and Bert was good at it.
He pops it foul and out of reach. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Alvin Davis, if he's going to bunt and get that ball down on the ground, especially trying to bunt the ball to first base, he doesn't want to bunt it to Brookins charging down his throat. He's got to get the bat out in front of the plate. You bunt with the bat even or behind, you're going to pop it up, you're going to hit it foul.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, popped up. Willie's got it. Presley didn't stray very far. Again, we go back to that word. Davis fails to execute the sacrifice bunt.
Well, he had the ball flat straight across against the plate. You see the bat is straight. It's not out in front at a 45-degree angle. You'll pop it up 9 times out of 10. It's really a fundamental that is so easy to practice. It always amazes me that these guys don't do it correctly.
Billy Buffett has gone to the mound to talk with Hernandez, as John Christensen has come out of the dugout, has been swinging a bat.
Probably what Muff is talking to Willie about it, wondering if he knows John Christensen, if he ever pitched to him before. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference. Willie's going to try and set him up with fastballs so he can throw him screwballs.
Christensen came to this club from Boston in September last year, along with Ray Quinones, in the deal that sent Spike Owen and Dave Henderson over to the Red Sox. 5-5 is the score. We're playing in the top of the 9th inning. Mariners have a runner at first. Big swing by Christensen. He really turned on the fan. 1 strike. Red Wings with a 2-1 lead over the Edmonton Oilers after one period of play in Stanley Cup action tonight. Noakes keeps it right there. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and the lead run is at first base.
Good play by Matt Noakes. When you have a screwball pitcher, a catcher has to be able to block that ball because they throw a lot of them in the dirt, and you've got to be able to give that pitcher confidence that you can stop the ball.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, a little bit low. 2-1. Fly ball down the right field line, curving. It is foul. Tigers grab a break there. Heath had a long gallop. Had it dropped in fair territory, he would never have had a chance. So it's still 2-2. It is 2-2. Runner still at first. Final from Shea now. Cincinnati has beaten the Mets 2-0. Houston over the Phils 5-1, and Montreal defeated Atlanta 6-4. Here in Detroit, it's 5-5 in the top of the ninth. 2-2 pitch. Another foul fly. This will get into the seats in the upper deck. The Pistons are not faring well in Atlanta in game 2. It is 94-71. The Hawks lead in the fourth quarter. 2-2 again. A ground ball foul. Ozzie Virgil knocks it down, picks it up, and throws it out. Larry McCoy takes a look. Put a new one into play. Pretty good battle going on here between Hernandez and Christensen. Check the swing, but not in time. He's a gunner. Willie strikes out Christensen. Now there are 2 out, and Ray Quinones comes up.
Here's the screwball. He'd thrown him a couple of fastballs, and this screwball, he takes a lot off it, down and out, right. A perfect pitch in the outside corner. You can see Christensen is fooled badly. Tries to stop. Pitch was a strike anyway. Good pitch by Willie Hernandez.
Quinones 0 for 3. Takes the pitch outside for a ball. Eric Bell has a no-hitter against Minnesota through 8 innings now.
That's tough to do with that team. They can pound that baseball, and you're on AstroTurf too. Be quite a feat if he pulls it off.
Oh, what a blast. If it stays fair, it is gone. A home run. Ray Quinones, 4th home run of the year, a 2-run homer. That will break the 5-5 tie. Ray Quinones with his 11th and 12th RBIs now, and the Mariners go on top 7-5.
Here we're going to see the pitch. Quinones not known much for a home run hitter, but Willie gets inside with a waist-high fastball, and Quinones turns on it, hits it into the lower deck. It was gone all the way. All they had to do is keep it fair.
Harold Reynolds turns around, hits as a right-hander for the first time tonight. Bats .389 for that side, and he fouls this out of play. Well, we'll look to the Tigers' ninth. It'll be Trammell, Noakes, and Herndon, the scheduled batters. Tigers will have to come from behind again. There's a fly ball to left field. Gibson is over. He's got it, and that's it. But the Mariners score a couple of runs on just 1 hit. There are no errors and none left. So we'll go to the Tigers' 9th inning. It's Seattle 7 and Detroit 5. Trammell, Noakes, and Herndon are the scheduled batters, and Stan Clark is the pitcher of record now as Edwin Nunez comes on, and see if he can slam the door for the Seattle Mariners. Well, let's look ahead to our programming coming up this weekend. It begins at 6:30 on a Friday evening with Off to the Races from Hazel Park. At 7 o'clock, it's the pennant chase. We'll have a complete rundown of all of the highlights in both the American and National Leagues from this past week. Then at 7:30, it's Game 1 of the Oakland Athletics Detroit Tigers series, as Reggie Jackson, Jose Canseco, and company come to town for the weekend at 7:30. And then following the game at 10 o'clock, it's trackside at Ladbroke DRC. On Saturday, we kick things off at 7 in the evening with Off to the Races. At 7:30, it's the second game of the Oakland Detroit series. And at 10 o'clock, it's trackside at Ladbroke DRC. A lot of entertainment coming up. We hope you'll join us on Pass throughout the weekend. 7-5, Seattle with a lead now as a result of Ray Quinones' 4th home run of the year, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning. Now it will be Edwin Nunez, the man to take the mound, to see if he can preserve it for Stan Clark and company.
Nunez is 1-1 with a .491 earned run average. This will be the 11th game he's appeared in. He's pitched 11 innings, given up 8 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, 2 home runs. He has walked only 1 and struck out 9. Tigers have their backs against the wall and the work cut out for them. They got Trammell, Noakes, and Herndon. Tigers really got themselves in a whole lot of trouble in the 5th inning when they had a chance to break this game wide open, and some unfortunate base running put them, didn't even score in that inning, and that was a shame. And since then, it's been all downhill for them.
I have a new catcher for the Mariners. His name is Bob Kearney. Nunez, first pitch is pop foul. Davis is over, and 1 pitch, 1 out in the 9th inning. Matt Noakes will bat for Detroit with 1 out and nobody on. Noakes has a couple of hits tonight. He singled home run in the 1st. Also had a base hit in the 5th inning. He's 2 for 4. Takes a strike at the knees. Here's the 1-strike pitch, and a fly ball hit deep to right center. Going back is Moses. He's at the warning track and makes the catch. Noakes didn't quite get all of it. He's had a couple of deep fly balls to Moses tonight, but just didn't quite get it all. So now it is up to Larry Herndon with 2 out in the 9th inning. Herndon is 0 for 1 tonight. He drew a walk in the 5th as a pinch batter and grounded out in the 7th inning. Mariners 7-6-2. The Tigers 5-8-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Edwin Nunez trying for the final out. He is the 5th man to work for Dick Williams' team tonight. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's low. The Kearney appeals to first, and Henry says, "What are you appealing for?"
Never hurts to ask, you know.
Just kind of cocked his head to the right and gave him the palms down sign. 1-1 pitch outside. Two and 1, the count to Herndon. That's foul back and out of play. Red Sox lead Oakland 6-0. They're in the 7th at Fenway. Eric Bell has a no-hitter through 8 innings at Minnesota, where Baltimore leads the Twins 4-0. Cleveland 2, Texas 1 there in the 6th inning at Arlington. Here in Detroit, it's 7-5 Seattle, bottom of the 9th. 2-2 pitch, another foul, straight back and out of play. Walt Terrell is scheduled tomorrow afternoon for Detroit. Scott Bankhead, who is 4-1 for the Mariners, as this brief 2-game series winds down. Low and away, full count to Herndon. Moore started, Wilkinson, Huseman, Clark, who is the pitcher of record, and Nunez on the mound for Seattle tonight. Inside, ball 4. So it'll bring the tying run to the plate with 2 out. Coles is being called back, and John Grubb is coming out. John Grubb will pinch bat for Darnell Coles.
Nunez makes the mistake that the reliever just can't make. You get away with it once in a while, but you continue to make it, and you can't get away with it forever. Larry Herndon couldn't hit a 2-run homer. There was nobody on. You got to make him hit the ball. You must throw strikes. Walk him, and now you have Johnny Grubb coming up there. If he hits a home run, you have a tie ball game.
John's had a tough time getting out of the blocks this season.
I was talking to Johnny before the game, and he's rushing it a little bit. He's getting a little late getting that front foot down, and then his hands are a little late, and he has to rush and pivot a little early. His timing is a little bit off. Now would be a good time for him to get his timing on.
Indeed it would be. Grubb batting for Coles. Herndon is at first base with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. The pitch from Nunez is low for a ball. Grubb had a sensational second half for Detroit a year ago. Now we're going to get time called here as Connors comes out. There's nobody throwing in the bullpen at present.
Want to come out and be sure that Nunez knows what he's doing here with Johnny Grubb up here. Doesn't want him to get way behind in the count where he has to feed him a good fat pitch down in the middle.
Now we're going to get some activity in the bullpen. Be Jerry Reed.
Can't be too many left down there. We've had 4 relievers and 1 starter.
Well, they got the wrong guy. Reed came out. He was going to throw, and now Mike Trujillo is going to warm up. That's a strike to Grubb. It's 1-1. 2 out, runner at first base. Tigers trail by 2. 1-1 pitch outside. 2-1 to Grubb. Bouncing ball left side. Quinones gloves it. Long throw to first, and that's the ball game. So the Tigers are turned away by the big man, Edwin Nunez, and fail to convert in the 9th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. A total of 11 stranded by the Tigers this evening, as the Seattle Mariners pick off game 1 of this 2-game series here at Tiger Stadium, defeating Detroit by a score of 7-5. Stay with us now. We'll be back with the wrap-up for tonight's game in just a moment on Pass.
Pro-Am Sports coverage of Major League Baseball has been brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh-Lite. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. By True Value Hardware, more than just a name, it's their way of doing business. By Highland, nobody sells for less. By Ford and your local Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Builders Square, where you're guaranteed the lowest prices on home improvement. Now 5 convenient Detroit locations. And by Snapper, makers of mowers, tillers, and trimmers. It's a snap with Snapper.
Here are the totals for tonight's game. The Seattle Mariners 7 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors, 2 left. The Tigers 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 11 left. Jack Morris, the starter for Detroit. Robinson came on in the 7th, absorbed the loss. His record is now 1-2. Hernandez coming on in the 9th inning. Moore, the starter for Seattle. Wilkinson in the 5th. Huseman in the 5th. Clark in the 8th picks up his first victory of the season. He is 1-0. And Nunez records his 6th save. Quinones, the game-winning RBI, his first for Seattle. It took 3 hours, 1 minute to play tonight's game. 10,918 were here to watch it. Well, tonight's Softcloth Boys player of the game is Pat Sheridan. He had a big night for the Tigers, going 3 for 4, a couple of singles, a triple. He had 2 RBIs, a stolen base, and scored a run. Our congratulations to Pat Sheridan, our Softcloth Boys player of the game. And don't forget, when you're looking for an outstanding car wash, look for the sign of one of the 23 Metro Detroit area Softcloth Boys. Congratulations to Pat Sheridan. Well, it was a game of missed opportunities, really, for both teams here this evening. It was finally Ray Quinones, an unlikely source of a 2-run homer in the 9th inning, to win it for the Mariners.
Detroit finally scored some runs. They got 5 tonight, but then again they've left 12 guys on base too, and you keep leaving that many men on, and the scoring opportunities they really squandered, especially in the 5th inning. They had a chance to break this game wide open. Had a bad base running error, took them right out of the inning on a double play, and they ended up not scoring in that inning, and they still had the bases loaded at the end when the inning ended. So the troubles are not over. Robinson pitched a pretty good ball, but he was a victim of Willie Hernandez's home run.
Well, we'd like to invite you to our next Tiger telecast. It comes your way on Friday night at 7:30 when Reggie Jackson and the Oakland Athletics head into town to kick off a 3-game weekend series with the Tigers. Until then, we'd like to remind you to tune in tomorrow evening beginning at 7 when Jack Riggs takes you off to the races with harness racing from Hazel Park. Then at 7:30, the Oakland Athletics in town against Wade Boggs and the Boston Red Sox in live action from Fenway Park. At 10 o'clock, stay tuned for a complete recap of the day's thoroughbred racing action. We'll take you trackside at Ladbroke DRC. Now for Jim Northrup, this is Larry Osterman saying goodbye from Tiger Stadium in Detroit. Again, the final score of tonight's game, the Mariners 7 and the Tigers 5. This has been an exclusive live presentation of Passports, Michigan's cable home of the Eastern Division Detroit Tigers.